열세 번째 시즌부터 성적이 하락하기 시작을 했죠. 우승 이후의 행보는 좋지 못했습니다.
이런 공격을 선택했던 적은 거의 없습니다.
히드라 웨이브가 닥치니까 한두 마리 부족해서 성공 상황에서도 옥저버를 노릴 건 다 노려요. 올인과 운영을 모두 다 보여주면서 확실히 돌아왔다라는 것을 경기 내용으로 보여주는 게
이변의 패배를 기록하면서 충격적인 다전제 패배.
20 상황에서 탈락을 하면서 체면을 구겨.
야, 이거 한 번에 와장창 깨지는데요. 전방향을 그냥 쓸어버렸어요.
물량이 끊기질 않습니다.
도제욱 시그니처의 물량 체급자으로 8강으로 올라갑니다.
What is up, everybody? Welcome. Sorry.
We don't know the
I'm so used to
cadence
the
yet.
interview.
We don't know the cadence yet of this. I assumed
Oh,
there was going to be
God.
an interview at the beginning.
I thought there was going to be an interview right at the start. Normally, I'm just
Oh,
being
it's so
quiet with my
funny.
mic muted.
Yep.
Ah!
Me too. And I looked up and I was like, oh, I better put my headset on.
So funny. What's up, everybody? We're finally here at the round of 8. I always love getting to the round of 8 here in the ASL. We're going to be starting this off with Best versus Queen. Should be a very exciting match.
Yeah, that's both of us actually agreed that this is probably the most exciting match, the hardest to predict match in this round. And I don't even know who I really want to have win this. Like, you know, Best is one of the guys where like this guy should win an ASL eventually, and he just hasn't been able to do it. Like, this is right around the point in the tournament where Best generally shits the bed and, you know, does something like, hey, here's the same strategy 6 times in a row, and like it just doesn't go forward. But I feel like he's been playing great PvZ. He's looked strong, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if he can take down Queen here and, you know, get that top 4.
Yeah, I think Queen might be the favorite here. He's looking very strong. Best, definitely someone who has not managed to win an ASL like we have thought for so long, but every one of these seasons of ASL and every one of these round of 8s is an opportunity to try to reinvent himself. It just doesn't seem like he always brings out the best builds or enough diverse ideas. Sometimes even a little bit too high risk or too weird, too out there in the playstyle, especially PvZ. So this will be a good test to see basically where he's at. The thing about Best is he is able to beat anybody in a series. I don't know why it's different when it's in an ASL. If you can win a best of 5 or best of 7 against anybody, you should be able to do it here. We're waiting to see that be created. And again, Queen, I think, a very, very tough player to do that against.
Hello and welcome to this match between Queen and Best, the very first match of the round of 8 of ASL Season 19, done in partnership with Hot 6, Stronger, Better, Clean Energy. As the round of 16 wrapped up last week, the entire 8-man lineup, and indeed the bracket as well, were both clarified. Now, those 8 competitors will fight their way through a single elimination bracket onwards to the grand final stage they so yearn for. Waiting for this first match are Queen and Best. So let's have a word with them. Hi.
안녕하세요.
First up, Queen. You will have been watching the bracket draw in anticipation. I did check your stream and While you said this is not an easy opponent, I was getting a different vibe going off of your facial expression. Be honest now. How did you feel whenever Best was picked as your opponent? It's not that I think Best is weak or anything. The other guys are just so strong. This is doable for me. This is doable for Best. It's a good matchup. I have a feeling this reaction stems from the confidence Queen gained having shown the form he did in the round of 16. Best, whenever it was decided that you will be meeting Queen as your round of 8 opponent, how did you feel? I could have run into Queen, Sulky, and Snow. Whoever I met here, the odds would be against me, so I'm actually feeling comfortable. You're receiving this matchup nomination with a degree of modesty and composure, and yet I'm interpreting this as you will be utterly determined, rather. How did preparation go? I had such a hard time, it was so difficult. But honestly, it's not a tournament if things are too easy. The key is to be able to handle things even if they're difficult. What was your win rate like as you prepared, Queen? It wasn't that good either, but I put in as much effort as I could in order to get a good result. I think today should be fine. Having as much stage experience as these two guys do, they well know that what they practiced will be nothing like the real thing. If we look at their historical head-to-head, Queen leads with a perfect 7-0 score. You guys played a best of 5 before, 9 seasons ago, but players often feel different about best of 7. There is a lot you need to prepare for a best of 7. A lot of mind games are involved. It's different like that. Now, that data is from quite a long time ago, and Best, whenever a new season starts, he always says, this time it'll be different. So, this might be another thing that's different about today. If you've seen Best's round of 16 matches, you will have come to realize you need to compose yourself. Yes. And so, I've made sure to remember him losing to BTS in the round of 24. I think about that, and I raise my confidence. Oh, I see. Queen's been managing his mental condition by recalling that one game Best lost instead. Best, I'm sure this 0-7 record in head-to-head will be cause for concern. The score racked up like that before I knew it. You know, I don't normally get crushed like that. Save for Queen, that's not the case. I do want to catch up a bit today. Queen says he motivated himself by mentally bringing up the image of you losing in that one game. What means of motivating yourself did you use? Well, it wasn't a ZVP, but I watched him lose to BCM over and over. Watching him get thrashed by that guy. Right. Okay, Best bringing up this game between Queen and BCM. Looks like Queen has suffered some damage in this mental battle. I wonder as well as to which set feels like the deciding one for the both of you. I think victory will be decided early on. In the first half, there are two-player maps. Protoss is good on those, so I think they might decide things. What do you think, Best? On Eclipse, Zerg leads in the win rate. It's a 55% lead for Zerg. It's a good Zerg map. Now on Death Valley, we don't have that much data yet, but honestly, I haven't played it much, so I am uneasy. He thinks two-player is good for Protoss, but what is good for Zerg is scouting everything with one overlord. He can find everything. A perfect rebuttal for Queen based on sound data. So are you looking towards the second half then? Today, you know it's a best of 7 today, but best of 7 against Zerg is tough. I didn't really look that far out. I just prepared to play the games one by one. Got it. Looks like both of our players are ever so determined to get to the round of 4. Let's close things out with our final remarks. Queen, once again, after a while, I have this chance to make the semi-finals. I will grab this opportunity and get seeded. Can't wait. Best, Queen is really good, so I'm probably going to have a hard time. But if I too manage to seize this opportunity, it would bring me one step closer to a championship. so I will work hard. Good. Looking forward to a great quarterfinals match from the both of you. Thanks for the interview. You're watching Queen vs Best, the first round of 8 match of ASL Season 19, done in partnership with Hot 6, Stronger, Better, Clean Energy. Let's kick things off and find out who is going to be this season's first semi-finalist.
Okay, this is not a drill, Artosis. We're really talking now. This is going to be a really fun one. I hope it's not one-sided.
Yeah.
If it is one-sided, I think it will go to Queen. Best has looked really good. I don't mean to beat a dead horse here. We talk about him, but this is a reality when he gets to the round of 8, that this seems to be a watermark that's very hard for him to cross.
Certainly, and Queen is in really good shape once again. He definitely had a moment there where he slumped in between his 2 championships and now. Even had a season where he did not make it into ASL, which was kind of shocking. One of the biggest upsets we've really had. But he's really back in top form. He's looking great. His games have been very good in ASL so far. His games outside of ASL are very good. And he was one of my top picks coming into this season to actually win it. Like, this guy is a champion. He knows how to win. And one of the only players that's not afraid of Sulky. So, like, if Queen gets the finals, man, I would bet on him.
That's an interesting thought. Queen versus Sulky finals. It's not one of the ones I had necessarily thought of. I think I've put Queen in a different spot than maybe where you have Artosis, but
yeah.
I'm very happy to be wrong and see him improve here. There's no reason why, if he hasn't been on top of the world before, he can't do it again here. And in ZVZ, he's extremely good, right? So he's someone who could actually take Sulky out. Going up against Best, Best's PVZ, he loves to make Dark Archons, which means he's generally pretty strong versus Hydra Busts. And if that might not make any sense because you don't make a Dark Archon to stop Hydra Busts, but Mutalisk plays to snipe Templars are usually the result of a Hydra Bust that didn't end the game.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is generally Best is pretty cheese-proof, at least with Hydras. I think there are always tricky things that people can do versus Protosses if they gateway expand with Zerglings, but Best is pretty good at that as well. When I think of his mid-game style, because everybody pretty much fast expands, and if we don't, I'm going to be jumping up and down and clapping my hands because those are always crazy games. I'm always fascinated with any Protoss player who can win on one base, but I almost have a bit of a harder time putting my finger on the type of play that Best generally has in a sort of standard textbook PVZ. He doesn't necessarily always go for Corsair Zealot +1 on both of those units like Bisu. He doesn't necessarily play a kind of safe, turtley tech style like Rain. But I would say that he does still have a big range of play. And so I'm wondering from Queen if Queen has his finger on the pulse of how exactly Best is going to play. The one thing I can definitely say about Best, because it gets me excited every time, is he makes more Dark Archons in this matchup than anybody else, by far. Like, he will not hesitate. If you do a Hydra Bust against him and he lives, he will get a Dark Archon with Maelstrom no matter what. Like, he will just always do that to prepare for the mutas. They're showing matchup history, but these matches are really old, okay? Like, Season 9, Season 10... Like, we have 2 ASLs a year. This is 19, so this is like 5 years ago, those, and maybe 4 years ago on Season 13. So it's like, yeah, okay, you 7-0, but that, like, tasteless. I mean, I don't even remember what matches I lost 5 years ago. It doesn't actually matter that much. You go back far enough, and those stats aren't really relevant, even in a game that's over 25 years old now. Queen was also very much on top of the world around that time.
That's right. That's right.
So we've seen Queen fall and then come back. He's riding the next wave, trying to surf that wave all the way to the finals, but Best is standing in his way. Best back then was sort of consistently inconsistent, not always going as deep as we thought in ASLs. So this is again always an opportunity for Best to turn a new leaf, to see how he can approach this differently. Historically, we had best of 5s for the space of the tournament. I'm guessing that the production team at ASL figured, well, we only have one match in a day. Why
These
don't
were
we
always
just get more games
short,
out of it?
very
Kinda
short
makes
matches.
sense.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm a big fan of best of fives because in a best of five, a 3-1 is close, whereas in a best of 7, a 4-1 is a blowout. So that's the only
Right.
thing, because like just statistically, like you get very few games that go all the way to like game 7, and like even a 4-2 doesn't feel as good as a 3-1. You know what I mean? So that's the only
Yeah,
thing that I have against the bigger matches. Like I want to see more games. It's just there's a very different feel in a best of 7. There's like an inevitability of like the better player is going to win. You know?
Yeah, I do think that the best of 5 is kind of the perfect number where you have enough games that it felt like it made sense. Like
Yeah.
we got to the bottom of who was better. We didn't drag it on for too long. But I also get from a production standpoint and maybe from a streaming standpoint, it's like it's more games. You know, maybe the fans want more games. There's more ads that can be run in this format as well. So we've got our whole map lineup set out here. It's going to be Metropolis and Eclipse here for game 1 and 2. After that, Dominator and Death Valley, Radon, Deja Vu, and Polestar if we are so lucky enough to get into a game 7, which, by the way, game 7 is really hard to get to in a best of 7. So see if we get there. Anyways, guys, we're going to hop into this one. The winner of this series is going to be the very first player to move into the round of 4 here in the ASL Season 19. Okay, both players sharing the top here. Queen in the upper right and Best in the upper left.
And we're on Metropolis
it-
here for map 1. What were you saying?
Yeah. It was the plug that we always give sometime in the early part of the show. I figured get it out of the way here in game 1. Guys, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. Please consider signing up for the Patreon at patreon.com/ASL English. It's been so awesome to cast StarCraft 1 for so long. This game has been around longer than any esport in the size that it's in, okay? I'm sure there's people that are still, playing Miss Pac-Man and trying to get the top score, or play Tetris and try to beat that. But, this is the oldest esport, and it will stay the oldest esport in the big size that it is, in part because of you guys. And the reason why I say that, and I'm so confident about that, is it's come out before many of the other games, and it's never going to go away.
Yeah. You started talking about, there's probably Miss Pac-Man, people trying to get high scores in Tetris and stuff. And actually, the Tetris esports is sick. I love watching that. But
it is awesome.
But then I instantly into my mind came Billy Mitchell. And I'm like, you know what we should have a reunion party. It's like Billy Mitchell and Savior and like all these villains from old games joining up and getting. I can't think of any others as notorious. Oh my God, it's 2Gate.
Oh.
But anyways, yeah, that was funny.
Oh
but
my God, that's
2Gate
crazy. We're
cases.
gonna have a 2Gate in this game. Didn't Billy Mitchell sue a guy for saying that the score was fake? But did he lose? When there lost,
I believe he lost.
Actually, don't
that.
know.
I believe he lost that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. I don't follow it that closely.
I'm like, I hope you're right, Arto. It's just lawsuit inbound here on the ASL.
I love those documentaries of the old games. I love like the King of Kong and stuff. Those were so fun to watch.
They're very
man.
good.
They were really good.
Oh yeah.
I like old games. I think they're super cool. Anyways, yeah, it's 2Gate. It's 2Gate, and that's a really funny placement. The Overlord is getting over here very quickly, so it feels like Queen is going to have information on this quicker than you normally do.
Let's see if it whips up or if it goes in far enough to see the second gate, because this way back in the day, like 2005, this was pretty common, like on maps like Luna. Maybe Luna's even older than that, but just it was like this weird style where you'd always go 2Gate and put it at the bottom of your ramp. And this is going to be good if done correctly in these spots because they're close to each other. However, Zerg can counterattack. They can try to isolate Zealots. And I do find Protoss to be extremely flimsy if this doesn't work.
Well,
and he brought 3 probes. This is actually such an old rush.
Yes.
I can't believe that we're even casting it here. This is among the oldest expand build rushes because you would expand after the... after you have enough minerals here when you do this.
Dude, I think...
But having 3 probes there,
Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
He's got to block the drone.
Yeah,
Yes.
these are going to block some surface area. One probe hit, 2 zealot hits kills a Zergling, and 2 probe hits, 2 zealot hits kill a drone. Dude, it's like, this is amazing to see. It's almost as if Reach has given Best this build to start out with.
I mean, this is so old school in vibes here. The probes, as long as they stay alive, the rush is viable. There is a timer sort of set on this because the Sunken Colony does basically end the rush. Now, Queen has not really targeted those probes at all, but maybe it doesn't matter in the end because there's enough Lings out here. The Zealot's on the run. Another Zealot's going to come up here, but, the Sunk isn't really damaged.
Yeah.
What did he get for drone kills? Maybe 1 or 2?
Yeah, I think he got at least 3 drones there. I'm pretty sure he got at least 3 drones there. So that seems kind of reasonable. He does send the probes back, but still making quite a few Zealots. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to make Zealots nonstop here, right? Like, just to maintain that pressure.
You have to. You have to. And you're also supposed to make probes the whole time, too.
Yeah. Even
though you pull 3. The idea is that the Zerg can't be making... workers at the same time. Wow, that was totally not worth it. Eating a lot of damage. Since the Zerg has to keep making Lings during the rush, it becomes a lot harder to keep up because the Protoss can make out of the Nexus at the same time making out of the gateways. So you're just trying to force Zerglings, even if the trades aren't great, you can kind of make it work. Now, I've always found this build exciting to use, but it falls off pretty fast if you haven't done enough damage with the pressure.
Has he done enough
still
damage?
Wall in. It's hard to say. To be honest, man, I haven't seen anybody really do this in so long that I couldn't tell you. I think there's a reason why the only 2 gating we've seen in the last couple seasons of ASL has been Mini. And he does the 2 gateways in the main and then rushes to a Reaver. He doesn't make probes the whole time.
Bisu
he
did that
tries to get
once in this season as well.
Right. Yes, exactly. But this is like the old way to approach the game. Is he's going to generate threats of a counterattack. So these Zealots have to be dealt with. And at the same time, there's going to be a Nexus made here. And I'm curious, is there going to be a layer right away? Or is there going to be maybe a later Hydralisk play coming?
Yeah, I have no idea how you're supposed to deal with this with Queen. But just because Bisu did it once earlier, these guys all obviously watch every game. I wonder if he... the thing is, if you see it, you probably at least think in your head while you're watching what I would do against this, So, like, just the fact that Bisu did this recently might give Queen a slightly better position than he would have had otherwise. The Cybernetics Core is on the way. And it is going to turn into Hydralisk. 2-base Hydra.
Yeah, it's basically a 3-hatch Hydralisk build with, no economy behind it because the 3rd hatchery isn't in another location with minerals at it. I do think that Protoss can still lose here. I think there are worlds... Oh, he's getting to the 2nd gas. That's interesting. Let's see if he gets any kind of a layer here. Because the layer does feel awfully fast if there is just a Hydralisk den that had just been made, right?
I mean, he can't think a Corsair's almost ready. That's right. There's no way because his Overlord saw the timing of the Nexus, so it has to be like a Hydralisk push. It doesn't have to be a full commitment, right? Like he could do something like we have those weird like Speedling range rushes where you just kind of gun down the wall. Sometimes people just make like 5, 6 Hydras and just kill part of the kill the gateway and force a bunch of cannons. But yeah, the 2nd gas is kind of throwing me off here too.
I think he might want to just get Hydra speed, like he couldn't quite get it in time. By the way, this is such a big scout, or I should say a fake out, because right now it looks like it's Mutas. Now it looks like it's Hydras. So basically he showed him at the last second. The Hydras can come in here now and kill off all of these Zealots, or at least make them super squishy, right? They're not going to get home anyways. The Ling body blocking's too good. There's just 2 more cannons actually being made. And basically the Protoss send those Zealots out on the map because he's trying to see, what exactly is the tech, but he had to push in too hard. And so now the Hydra bust is coming down here. Remember, this gateway is sticking pretty far out. The only other gateway he has is kind of tucked behind that.
Look at how ugly the cannon placements have to be because of that second gateway.
Oh, yeah.
This reminds me of when you hold a rush with shield battery, and if you don't kill it, you end up losing to the Hydra Bus because you don't have surface area.
Right.
Like, this actually kind of reminds me of that because, like, 5 cannons is bustable. He doesn't have great locations. Yeah, he starts a 6-1 back there. If Queen makes nothing but Hydras here, I mean, obviously Queen becomes very, very all in there, but does Best actually have the right cannon counts?
It's hard to say. He's got a lot of zealots in the front, so that can sponge up a lot of the damage that would otherwise be a real threat. You can put the Hydras on position the way the Queen is right now and just start to damage the gateway. Now, remember that the Zerg never has to run in. That's one of the harder parts for the Protoss when trying to deal with this. I do like this pylon on the high ground, by the way. I think he wants to make one cannon up there because sometimes a high ground cannon makes it just so much harder to actually break through here.
The Overlord is coming up, but yeah, his positioning on that's perfect, and I think that that's like a really smart play because it's that left side that's actually down on cannons a little bit, and that just drawing Hydralisk fire and like screwing up their AI looks like such a smart play. I love that cannon. That's so smart from Best.
Yeah, and I don't think Queen's seen it yet. He has an Overlord there, but I don't think he moved it up anymore. I think it's just in hold position, like just out of range of that cannon. Remember, there's a lot of ways this game can go. You can overextend a Zerg, dive in, and then you're completely at the whims of the Protoss. He's going to try to do that. Now, Best was very consistent with making Zealots. And so the Zealots are going to sponge up a little bit more, but there's still a lot. He's doing some great targeting on the cannons here. Another Zealot comes out. He's just trying to buy a little bit more time. There's 4 cannons total that he has to deal with. This one that was at the top left isn't really a factor anymore. And he's, his gateway should be finishing momentarily here. I think Zealot speed will finish too. Zealot speed is going to make a huge difference when it comes to holding this. He's going to dive in again. There's 2 pylons here. There's no way to unpower this. Not that that's a common way for this to go, but important to remember that really it's going to come down to killing the cannons. He could get this one cannon up here on the upper right. I don't see any reinforcements coming, by the way. I almost feel like Queen had more to do back at home and kind of had to focus his attention elsewhere. He sent 3 drones too, so maybe this is it. Maybe this is the end of it.
Yeah, this has been a very weird rush from Queen. Well, I guess just like a weird game anyways, but it seems like Best has just barely held it, and with the amount of gateways he has and Zealot legs finishing, you can't imagine this going on further. So does Queen here go towards Mutalisk, or does he just go into Lurker Tech?
I actually would normally say Mutalisk, but I think Lurker Tech could be fine. He's forced out a lot of Zealots.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, the Mutas can't even kill this many Zealots. You'll kill every building Zerg has if he's popping 5-6 Mutas right now. So, might be good to go Lurkers.
Like you could turtle with Lurkers. I mean, a Lurker Contain would be good, but I guess that period of time to pull that off is kind of gone because the Zealots are out on the map. He's going to run up and try to hit this 3rd base. God, there's more Zealots than there are Hydralisks here.
This is really rough. He's trying to pull all the way back. The Sim City here is not good enough either. Like, he's starting to make the Sim City, but it's simply not ready. The drones will drill in front, but you don't win this in any universe as Zerg. Like, Best will kill all this no matter how badly you glitch his Zealots.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely trying to trip him up, but there's just so many Zealots out here and so few Hydras. And I think if this base that we're looking at right now falls, I think that's the game.
I think so, too. I think Best has basically done it here. He's done everything he really needs. Look at this. He's going to kill both spots at once. He has so many Zealots. It's actually insane. Dude, yeah, this has been a very cool game. A very different-looking game than we ever see. Like, we've seen Bisu and Mini both do 2-gate openers, but this is much more in line with the old days pre-Bisu. This looks like it's a super modern reach play. The Mantos himself, the only man who kept Protoss alive for a certain year back in the day, and amazing to see.
It's funny. I sometimes I bring up 2-gate in a PvZ before things start up, and I kind of stopped doing it because I'm like, this is so rare. I sound like a crazy person talking about this. But it happened in this game, and I was wondering if Best was going to try one of those 2-gate variants he did it in game 1 versus Queen, and he made it work. And he made it work exactly the way the 2-gate's supposed to work. Because generally, against world-class Zergs, you don't kill them with a 2-gate like that. You get the drone count so low, they have to make a drastic counter. They can't play a normal game in macro up, so he tried to go for the Hydra Bust. And from there, Best held it. And Best held it really well, even when Queen hit it really well. And once he had held on long enough, he just had to get enough Zealots. He got 1-1 out, he got Zealot speed, and from there, Queen was toast.
That was awesomely done. You know, it felt like a little bit iffy for a moment on holding with those cannons, but he made just enough and just barely held everything, which is what you want to do. You want Zerg to kind of try and then fail. That's much better than overmaking cannons and having them not try. So, like, basically perfectly done from Best. Looking fantastic here. Goes up 1-0 over Queen.
이 에너지 드링크는 이것을 올리지 않아. 단백질이 들어있거든. 청량하게 마시는 단백질 에너지 드링크. 에너지가 담백해. 하식스 더프로.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be continuing on here with our matches of Queen versus Best. I got to say, man, that was a really, really cool game. That strategy is so old, we really don't reach back much further than that, or we almost can't reach back much further than that.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying, Artosis?
Yeah.
Like, that's such an ancient way to approach
Those metas are so gone at this point. But yeah, once upon a time, there was just a lot of 2-gate, tons of Zealots being made, constant pressure, probes being pulled to attack. It's kind of like the +1 for Zealots in the early game. It was cool to see. Really a reach back, and honestly, Best is the spiritual successor to Reach. Guys, if you're like kind of newer to Brood War and you haven't watched since, you know, early 2000s, Reach was basically Best back then. He was the sole pro. There was one Star League where only one Protoss made it, and it was Best. And I mean, it was Reach, and he was just kind of like this manly, muscly Protoss player that just macroed like a god, and he played kind of like that. It was really fun to see that.
And crazy to see it with the stakes that we're at right now. I mean, this is where Best is supposed to die, right? All due respect. He usually doesn't make it past this. Maybe gets round to 4, dies there. He did a very unique original build, one we just don't see anymore, but we sort of know of, and it kind of makes sense on that map. There's a 2 out of 3 chance that the Zerg is going to be your neighbor, and you're not going to be in cross spawns. He played it out. He punished the Zerg. He countered the tech, and he won the game. He's going to show, I think, a big range of games here.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. You're definitely right. He's going to be showing a big range. You know, that's one of the things we really talked about before with him, where sometimes he doesn't do that. Like that series against Mind that he had, where he just did the same strat over and over and over. Here, he's not going to do that over and over and over. That's like if he opened 2-gate every time, Queen will figure that stuff out pretty quickly. I think that's going to be our only 2-gate opener. But we're going to Eclipse next. One of the best cannon rush maps, and Best is the best cannon rusher. So Queen is going to have to open pool first, I think.
I think you're right, man. Let's get into this game right now. Best with a 1-0 lead versus Queen in this best of 7. Okay, Queen in the bottom left, Best in the top right. Tastosis, you were 100% correct. This is one of the best cannon rush maps because it's a 2-player map. You can run around their overlords, so they basically have to be ready with the drone if they're going to stop your cannon rush. We already this season saw 1 gate into Forge cannon rush, which is a great way to disguise the rush itself because gateway expand is so common. You know, kind of another old build like that was actually used this season. And look, there's nothing about the map that says you have to do it. Just because one technique is strong on it doesn't mean that that's the only way you can approach the matchup. But Best has a big array of options. We know he has a wide range of play. Should be interesting, especially on this map, to see how he does. That's the original Jerk Gamer. Nice.
That was the greatest sign ever. Okay. But yeah, you know, I actually remember we were talking about it many seasons ago, like years ago, about how it felt like Cannon Rush had kind of gone out of style. And we talked about how Best was the only guy that was still really Cannon Rushing for Protoss and ASL. And it's actually come back into vogue a bit, but he's never given up on it. From Boston, go Best. Very nice. It's
By the way, he did this like gateway, but he also sent a probe out and kind of made it look like he went around the long way. Did you see this?
Yeah, he went through the northern, like, lane 2, I guess you would call it, or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he definitely, and the Overlord sees that, so he definitely, like, is trying to show that maybe something's happening. You know, a lot of people have been faking Cannon Rush here because it's so common. And the drone going up towards the third will draw that probe away, so he'll just turn this around now and make the natural hatchery.
He could get a kill on this. He's got the lead with the damage. This is going to be tricky. The drone is going to get stuck back here. And I think Best might have been a little bit too eager. I don't think he can catch it now, but we'll see. Yeah. You know, you have to right-click spam a lot with that probe. Same with the drone to keep it going in a straight line.
It has been...
It's a disaster, by the way. If you lose the drone, it's just so bad for the Zerg.
This has been, like, people have gotten so good at microing drones and probes that this has become, like, a very normal thing to see in early games, is, like, this whole other thing happening where workers are being intensely micro to try to keep them alive. Like, I'll tell you, most of my games, especially against higher-ranked players, my SCV is running around crazily trying to go get away from stuff like this. It's like a little mini game that you have to play at the beginning now.
Let's see how many more lings he makes. He went up to 8, but he's only shown 2.
Ooh.
He's basically disguised this as like, I'm being greedy. 2 lings will prompt the Protoss player to send the Zealots out. So 4 or more, you always stay back.
The 2 Zealots are heading towards the third, and he declined to make the hatchery at the third. Like, he looked like he was going to, and then he said nope, and he sent it back. So that's kind of interesting to me.
I think Queen might have seen those 2 Zealots move out across the map.
Yeah. He had an Overlord in position.
Yeah, this may force Queen to basically go for a fast layer, which might be what Best wants, by the way. And he is going to go for the third hatchery. It's going to be a little bit later. Now, with the 2 Zealots across the map, I mean, this is a lot of lings. He could just run in there if he wanted to.
Yeah,
it
looks like he's
going
going
lings
to.
in there.
Are you going to actually get damage here? The Zealots are counterattacking into Queen. Oh my god, actually. This is really, really dangerous right now. He's definitely going to lose these Zealots. But the 2 counter Zealots, if Queen is making nothing but Lings, which I would assume, I think Best is in some big trouble here. I think Queen's going to be able to get him.
Well, you can kind of play keep away. 2 Zealots isn't the end of the world, but, 7 or 8 Lings inside your base when there's no cannon and Zealots coming out one at a time, this can be fatal. He's going to get the surround. You can see Best is trying to break the Ling that was on the outside so he could kind of run across.
Oh.
And I think the keep away game is basically starting to work, and Best is in a lot of hot water here. The Lings can kill the cannons, they can kill the probes, they can kill everything that's over here. I don't know what's inside the main for Best, but I have to imagine it's not that many workers. Meanwhile, the drone count is basically the same.
Dude, he's having a hard time even affording a cannon right now. Okay, finally gets one up, but, there's a hole in that wall. He's going to have to go up and try to defend against this. How many? Okay, so we have 8 drones total. I want to see how many probes. So we have 3 or 4, and then 3, 6, 8 up there. Okay, so he has 13 against 8. 13 against 8.
Nothing mining gas, by the way.
Yeah.
So Protoss isn't teching. In fact, Zerg is getting has more gas in this game, although he's stopped mining gas, I guess, to do here. But you know what I'm saying. No one's teching. The Zealot's not out. The Lings can just attack this probe. He's got the Achilles heel here. It's just at the bottom. He's going to be able to surround that Zealot. He does exactly that. He gets a few more Lings to squeeze through. There aren't that many workers down here.
Dude, this is so crazy.
Ling speed's done.
Oh my god! Best! That was insane that only 2 Lings, or 3 Lings, I guess, got in. And they are pretty low here as well, but they definitely can get some damage still.
Now, it's so important for Queen's sake he does not lose a single Zergling. Queen also has to decide, am I going to try to all-in even more, or am I going to drone up behind this? Because you'll kill off probes over time. It's really tough to not lose probes. Very few players can do that. At the same time, there's nothing mining gas. Again, I want to keep emphasizing that because this is really bad for Best. Even if he's making workers, and it looks like not much is going on, you need to get into tech. You need to get a Corsair out. You need to get Templars out in this game. They should have been mining gas this whole time. And Queen is going to set up for at least 4 more Lings, and I think a Hydra bust behind this.
Well, he's been able to drone up pretty well. It definitely feels to me like Queen has a good advantage right now. These Zealots coming across the map from Best, trying to keep some pressure on, get some scouting done, making sure that it's not pure drones. And, I guess he does get that in a manner of speaking, but does Best actually have the economy he needs here to make enough cannons and then continue to tech up and not get behind if Queen does a Hydra rush and then pulls out of it?
Some of these games you can get so behind in your gas that Hydra busts are almost unstoppable. Like, you can have so many cannons there and it still doesn't matter. Like, they will try to break you down. The 2 Zealots are going to come through. He's going to split them off, 1 for each expansion. And I think he's going to get at least 1 or 2 drones. Looks like just 1 over at the Natural. He will also see the Hydra Den. Now, we could also have a moment where Queen decides to back out of that. Another drone kill, very nicely done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good micro there. And he gets the scout off. He knows what's going on. So some additional cannons being made. He is still going to continue forward with the Stargate. That is actually going to be very important for him to scout exactly what's going on with those Corsairs. You got to see when they're making, the Hydralists, when they're making the drones. It's actually, the drone count is very healthy right now for Queen. I really think Queen is very far ahead right now.
I really like Queen's position here. Remember that cannons are only supposed to keep you alive until Psystorm's out, right? He's going to force a lot of cannons here. And this Walden, it's the new version, where the gateway you're willing to give away because you can make more cannons behind it and then use a gateway in your main. But this is a post-Ling Rush game. So, Best is scrambling. He's scrambling right now to try to make sure he's not killed off here. We got to check, are there more Hydras coming out? Remember, there's no Corsair on the map. Okay, sorry, there's 1 Corsair out now, but it's a late scout, right? Normally the Corsair scouts the Hydra rush, and then you get the cannons. This is kind of the opposite.
It feels really, really bad for Best right now. With the amount of hatcheries Queen's about to have, Citadel just finishing up. Looks like he is going to try to push. He brings the Lings forward. But yeah, decides to pull back. Best is going to go back and mine with his probes. I think he's figured out that, you know, it's looking grim. Like, he's starting to see more Hydras come out, but when you see this type of drone saturation on 5 hatcheries, it's going to be tough to hold.
He's going to go for the cannon over here in the front. Probes and Zealots are pulled. Honestly, kind of felt like a little bit of an overextension there from Queen. You know, because the entrance is narrow, but there's like more room for cannons in the back. I think if he has another layer of cannons back here, he should be okay. He also might not need it. Point in case, though, is that the tech is still late. If we have a Templar's archive, it's just started. He's getting the layer. He's going to get a 4th base. So he looks at this and he says, okay, I'm not going to push it anymore. Every cannon that's made in this game was a gateway that could have been made earlier. That's a great way to think about the situation.
Yeah. I'm looking at this, and this is actually giving me, like losing TVP vibes, where, you know, occasionally you have a Terran versus Protoss where you, like, just take a little bit too much damage in an early game, and Protoss starts to run away with it. I feel like that for this game, too, where I'm looking at it, and I'm, like, trying to think in my mind, like, okay, what can best do from here to come back? And not very much is coming up. It's things like if Queen takes terrible engagements against Psystorm, maybe a Dark Templar does one of these insane moves where it kills 20 drones. But I can't see in a straight-up game here, like, best macroing out, pushing out, taking his 3rd, and just playing, you know, a solid game and winning. Would you think that's accurate, or?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the one thing he's got going for him is that the Forge wasn't killed. Not that you win or, you know, live or die by +1, but, like, it is a really important upgrade to have, especially if you go into a long game. I think we're going to have the Lurker contain. We kind of talked about this maybe happening earlier, but this is a similar situation to the last game, but we got here in a very different way. Never mind, Spire. I thought maybe Lurker, because Lurker contain's also very strong on this map. You have a big, wide, open area, and it's very easy to try to get... basically box the Protoss in forever and make this, like, never-ending expanse of Lurkers in every direction, where the further they go out, the more Lurker spines are hitting them from every side. But Mutas is also fine, too. That's completely acceptable. But could he get a Dark Archon, Artosis?
That's true. Yeah, Best basically always makes a Dark Archon, but he's so far behind right now that he is making High Templar. Oh, man, he tries to push out, but that's, like, just too many Hydras. Very good micro against the big group. Things. Yeah.
You know, you make Zealots, you feel so strong, and then you'll come out and hit Hydras and be like, oh, I just actually lose this fight. It doesn't matter. He can kind of just kite them and back away. He did fork off a couple of the Zealots. They're going to loop around. I think they're going to target this pretty exposed 4th base. And I guess we'll see what he can get done here. This is 6 Zealots coming up. I don't see anything here to defend for now. Just some Hydras moving up.
He should be able to save the hatchery. Yeah, the Zealots turn around and run away. There is one Dark Templar at home. We don't know if he's going to make that Dark Archon or that's going to go out and try to get some damage, but the Mutas are hatching. So even if he makes it, you have to wait a while to get the 100 energy for Maelstrom. So, yeah, it's very much on his back foot.
Out of range. Yeah, I mean, look, Hydra rushes, when done correctly, especially in chaotic games like the one we had, it's just so hard for Protoss to get to where they need to be without dying in the process. So the Hydras are out now, this is going to ruin everything. We don't have any Dragoons in this group with range. We don't have an Archon here that you could kind of run under that would defend you. We also don't even have Templars that are getting sniped, just to make you appreciate the position the Protoss is in.
Yeah, he does have this one Dark Templar that he has brought around the map, and actually, I don't see detection there. Is there an Overlord there to the south? No, I don't think so. So, you know, while those Mutas are busy killing off Zealots, he is getting some damage here to the economy, at least. Hey, look at that. Like, okay, Queen just now noticing, but that's a good 6-7 drones he just got. Very nice.
That was one of the plays we were looking for, right? Get a couple of drones of the DT. It's always a good thing, too, when the Protoss gets away with the DT. You want that DT to find another opportunity to run in there. The Zerg can never keep track of it if it gets too far out. There's just too many things going on in the game. We've got the Templars staying back.
This is
And he's just going to try to take some pot shots. You're trying to bait out Storm here or kill probes, either or.
It's kind of funny that, okay, yeah, he brings in some more. That was only 4, so...
he might have actually only wanted to show 4.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that was like a trick play where he's like showing like, look, I'm not killing him. Like, I don't know. You might think like he's just trying to force an overreaction or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I can't know for sure, but it did feel like you wouldn't just run in with those 4. He's got another DT up here. This is going to get a few more kills. This is the one from earlier. And he gets up to 10. Very nicely done. Zerg is a little bit tight on drones. And we've got that big push coming. So we're going into like 12 to 20 Dragoon range area, which is a really strong amount. You're really not afraid of anything with that number. But it's hard to keep the Templars alive. No small group of Corsairs. He's going to have to try to play a bit of a zoning game. And God, he has even more than that.
Yeah, you were right about the mutas. I think he's trying to make him think that they're not that big of a deal. But he comes in, he snipes 1 High Templar, loses a few of them. But this group probably can at least bait out some more Storms, if not kill some more High Templars. And that is a lot of Hydralisks. Holy crap.
He's got 1 obs with this. That's another target that can be hit with the mutas. You know, basically your observers and your Templars are your Achilles heel. He comes in with the real amount, and now Best realizes he doesn't have any Templars to fight these Hydras. And this is the 1-2 punch in mid-game that Zergs will use to try to wipe you out. Now, I don't know if he wants to try to play defensive turtle style or if he wants to try to charge up and hit the entrance of the Protoss, contain him forever. I think both are completely acceptable.
Yeah.
He's going to use the mutas to at least draw the army back. Let's see if the Zerg army moves up now.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would not attack when you've got this type of supply lead and you just killed all the High Templars. Even if he has 3 perfect Storms, you'll still kill his army.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there is a little bit of a lag. This army is kind of this snake winding up here, but it doesn't matter. I mean, so many Zealots are going to be picked off here. I don't see any Templars just yet. He's got Hydras coming here from above. There's just this absolute brutal amount pushing in here. Best taps out. We're tied up 1-1. Got to say, a very frustrating opener for Best back there. Queen getting the upper hand.
Well, you did a good job kind of calling out the lings that he wasn't showing, because he made those extra lings. He didn't make the 3rd hatch. That was some high-level mind games, because it's very common to send Zealots to attack the 3rd, and so Best gets up there. There's no 3rd base, and he counterattacks with all the lings, which is what Best wants to keep track of and wasn't able to do. He didn't know how many lings were out. He didn't know where they were. So his counterattack with the Zealots, as long as Queen could deal with that well, Queen got really far ahead from his link counterattack. So really, this is exciting because we're watching a couple players that are, so known to be so good mechanically, really out-strategize each other in these first couple games.
Yeah, nothing boring about these games so far. Nobody able to really develop into the game they want. The Zerg can't get their normal macro play. The Protoss can't get their tech up in time. No break either, by the way. We're going to go right into Dominator here for map number 3.
All right, Dominator, it is a fun map, no doubt. One of my very favorite maps in this map pool, and I can't wait, man. Death Valley set forward. We're going to finally see a Death Valley PvZ. I have no idea what to expect for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a crazy one. I've been thinking so much about these other maps. I haven't given Death Valley a whole lot of attention, but yeah, that's going to be a weird game that we probably can't replicate ever again.
Yeah.
Just because of the circumstances of that map. Dominator, however, we do have a lot of games on this map. Cannon Rush is generally not as strong here. All right, enough talking. Let's go right into this game, guys. Game 3 to see who takes the lead in this best of 7. Okay, Zerg in the top left is Queen, Protoss in the bottom left as Best. Will we have more Zealot aggression or Hydra pressure or Ling counterplay? Seems very possible. you know, game one was extremely premeditated by Best. Like, that was the build he's going to open with.
Yeah.
Queen's game could have actually been him just sort of looking at the situation and going, all right, I can send 2 Lings here, I can deviate in my build, and basically create an opportunity for a guerrilla attack, you know, at the natural. And it worked. And that's the whole reason why the Hydra Rush worked. That's why that's so important to focus on.
Yeah, that was actually a very cool way that he executed that on Eclipse. I actually have so much appreciation for him not making that 3rd hatchery, just playing a little bit off the standard meta. And, you know, I think that that's really important when you're playing best of series. Like, you have to take some risks, you have to mix it up a little bit, because if you just play into your opponent's preparation, because, I mean, this is like a top 3 Zerg in the world against a top 3 Protoss in the world. Like, you can't play into each other's preparation. You have to try to throw some curveballs in there, and they're both doing a really excellent job of it.
So this is a 9 pool without speed. He did make a drone for an extractor trick. This is very strong versus Gateway first. This makes the game a lot harder than if you were to go for, like, Overpool. Because the 6 Lings come out really fast. It's also, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't matter at this level of play, but it can be pretty tricky if you're not paying close attention to figure out that it's actually that right away. Okay, hold on. This drone's taking a lot of damage.
Okay.
And it's going to be chased. And that might be part of the plan from Queen, just so that he doesn't realize what's happening here.
I think that's exactly what it was. I think he's like, yeah, come chase this. Even if he gets the kill, just the surprise of 6 Lings that quickly would be crazy. But as Best gets up here, he'll know exactly what he's up against. So, yeah, that 3rd hatchery location goes out. Well, 3rd base hatchery, 1st hatchery location. The 6 Lings are out. You definitely have to pull these Zealots back. And this is a little bit tricky. Normally against things like this, you'll have like Zealot probe on the ramp and then other Zealots trying to block around the gateway. But a 9 pool is a lot faster than some of these other, like, you know, overpools that we see people go down and pressure with the Lings.
So I did notice a lot of pros now make the Forge. I think the older school of thought was that you're supposed to just keep making Zealots and, excuse me, bring 1 or 2 extra probes up and try to hold. I think it was Rain that actually showed us this, is you just make the Forge and then make the Nexus and don't make a cannon. Which sounds insane, but really you just want the wall. Yeah, this happened in one of the games we casted, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because this is something that, like, I personally have dealt with on the ladder. Not recently, because I've been going more Gateway or Forge Expand.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I kind of never knew how to deal with this.
Yeah,
because in my mind, I make a Forge, I go, well, we have to get a cannon. But really, I think he just wants to have the wall in. Let's see if I'm right. I could be wrong.
That's fascinating. You're right. Look at his bank go up. That's 100% what he's doing. These types of situations are not execution-based, they're knowledge-based. And it's always fascinating to see something like this, because I never would have guessed this, actually, if you hadn't pointed this out. That, like, he made the Forge. I'm like, yeah, it's a 9 pool, so he's going to get 1 cannon, make it an Nexus. That makes sense. But, you know, the cannons, like, you're really trying to avoid defensive structures as much as possible in the early game, no matter what matchup you're in.
He sent 2 Zealots out. Yeah, I'm really interested in how exactly this plays out, because this has been such a point of pain for me in the past, where, like, I couldn't figure out, okay, like, what is the right move? Notice he sends the Zealots back, so he's trying to force more Lings. He knows he can wall with 2 Zealots and then send out 2 Zealots on the map and kind of freak them out. If more Lings come out, it's going to hurt the Zerg. Remember, the Zerg just doesn't have a lot of drones with the 9 pool. It's easy to look at this from the Protoss perspective and think, like, well, it seems like Protoss just holds and this is easy, but the reality is you don't have a lot of workers. Protoss is making workers the whole time.
Yeah. That's the whole thing about Zerg. I was actually talking the other day when I was like casting a game for my casting channel, and like that's the interesting thing about Zerg, because everything is produced out of the hatcheries. It's kind of like what makes StarCraft so interesting, because Zerg plays so entirely different from Protoss and Terran, where Protoss and Terran, it's like, okay, basically you're always making workers. With Zerg, that's the whole trick of playing Zerg and playing against Zerg, is trying to manipulate when the drones can be made.
And so the Stargate started. It's once again 3-hatch Hydra. Wow.
Every game.
I'm really every game, man. Well, it's a good build. I can't say that I blame him, but this was a pretty ordinary game. Like, the defense was stellar from Best. I don't think he was really slowed down at all, literally, and I think Queen was. So I wonder what the Hydra pressure really looks like.
Dude, look at the
like
mini map.
Best should be ready.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to point that out because I'm like watching a symphony of Zerglings around the minimap. He is the amount of scouting and how different locations. He had basically the entire minimap lit up for a moment there with all of his Zerglings. Just unbelievable. Please continue. That was like, it was like a shooting star. I'm like, shut up, there's a shooting star. Everyone look in the sky.
Make a wish. I'm like, okay, I wish he doesn't 3-hatch Hydra next game. Let's go. So, I mean, the rush is coming. The Protoss is very, very ready. Now, maybe the Forge can be hit. I always find it hard to look at this. I feel like StarCraft, you have to have very good spatial reasoning, but even for someone who casts and plays all the time, sometimes I can't quite tell. I don't think the Forge is totally safe, but I could be wrong.
That Hydra got wrecked.
Well, that's not it.
No, those two locations were not safe. Uses a Hydra to pick off that one Zealot that was hidden on the right side of the map. Great attention to detail from Queen, because Best definitely would have counterattacked the third with that during the bust. But a lot of gateways on the way right now. Citadel finishing up so you can get those Zealot legs. The Corsair is still running around scouting and is going to find that there are additional hatcheries, including the 4th base location being taken. So Best has good reads as to what's going on.
Okay, so he's got the range upgrade.
Dude, he
This
just
requires
can't do
you
it.
to do some. Well, it's so hard. You know, Protoss have the same thing when they try to hit the Terran's Depot, where it's like you think you would just be able to like attack it and it would just hit it, but for some reason they step in too deep.
Oh, the bunker.
There's like this weird over. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. There's like some kind of overextension mechanic where like units kind of like run too far in instead of firing at their optimal distance.
That's actually
it will be terrible. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's why a lot of Protoss players will do hold position on their goons to get them to fire at the bunker as opposed to right-click, which allows Terran to unload Marines to take shots to repair less. It's like, it's a crazy mechanic, but and we see Queen falling to that. 2-time ASL champion has lost 4 Hydras trying to get this Forge.
It's hard. It's really hard to do. If he gets the Forge, it's going to be crazy. We're in a moment where we need to see if Zealot speed is going to come out. He might even send it prematurely just to keep this alive. And I think...
He just got +1.
Oh, please click
on
Zealot. Okay. Wow. So now he's going to have +1 Zealots. Remember, those 2 hitlings instead of 3, which makes the Zerglings, you know, not a great meat shield for the Hydras to do damage. And Best also seems to really like this powering Zealot style versus the Hydralisk approach. Queen has shown games before where he just gets so many Hydras that it gets shut down. It's one of the reasons why I don't do this anymore, is I find if I try to, like, strong-arm the Zerg, they just beat me back into my base and I lose. And I think Queen's almost to that number.
Well, no one makes more Zealots than Best, that's for sure. He definitely is, like, the macro god amongst the Protoss players. So we'll see if he actually has enough as he comes out. There are some Zerglings there as a meat shield, but they're not going to function that well. Oh, a couple Dark Templars. Dude, he's going to do a DT drop, I think.
This is smart. DT drop is really good versus Hydra Bust if you have a position where you're pointed to their main.
And he is.
With the Robo. You can like quietly float around with the Corsair and be like, oh, are you like going to make me do this? I'm so scared. But you're actually making DTs. So he's going to come out. He says, all right, just as I suspected, you have too many Hydras for me to just fight you. You were not greedy. Ooh. I don't get a punish. It's 4 base versus 2. But oh my God, he just missed it. So he was thinking about that.
He felt it and he missed it. Oh no.
So a lot of times there's no Overlord in the main. I don't know why this is. There's probably some mathematical reason why you need to have the Overlords everywhere, because you can't just have an Overlord necessarily at every spot you need. So he's going to come out here and he's like, look at me, I'm fighting you. But he's actually making the DTs go into the main like this.
Dude, he's going to kill all these drones so quickly with double Dark Templar. Now, that being said, he's actually losing a huge portion of his army, and Queen actually recognizes this before he loses everything. This feels like Best might have blundered a little bit. I wonder if it was suspicious how bad the fight was for Best. It's like, wait, are you trying to draw my attention over here?
I think he should have pulled away a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Because he's basically giving up a lot.
This?
The DTs are going to hit the Hydro Den. The Hydro Den is, you can lose it and remake it. It's kind of whatever, right? It's basically the fastest building to make a Zerg in the whole game. He's still doing a lot of damage. He's still juggling these DTs. He's still going after workers. A lot have been killed already. He could end up taking all these ones out at the 4th. It's kind of funny. There's Hydras that are like there, but not quite there, ready to actually defend.
I am actually at a loss as to who's ahead right now, because I feel like Best's actual engage was poor. The DTs definitely did well. They didn't actually do as well as I thought. I was like, oh, he's going to end it with these, but I just feel like he wasted so much of his army into those Hydras as almost like, you know, just to pull the attention of Queen. So
well,
his army is not that big, and it's not that technical.
Well, it's okay because he's got the 8 gateways up, so you kind of just remake stuff here.
Okay.
Zerg has to remake a lot of drones. Protoss didn't lose probes, right? So there's that.
Yeah, true.
This is going to be tough, though. I mean, you have to remake your whole army. There are mutas back in this game. It's kind of an inevitability. And, you know, even with Dragoons, if there's not that Dark Archon tech, and when you do the DT drop, by the way, you've spent the money that could have been those 2 DTs into a Dark Archon. You did go for a drop into that. The DTs are extremely expensive, too.
And based on what I'm seeing with unit movement, I think he suspects that there could be either mutas or maybe even a drop coming in. Do you see that? Like Dragoon Corsair in his main base looking around? Seems like he's being very cautious right now.
He knows what the next likely move is here. So the mutas are going to come in here. They're going to be able to punish because cannons were not made over here to defend, because you do need to eventually get your gateways out. I'm feeling like this is a great game for Queen right now.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it definitely. I was like a little bit confused before, and I like that you say that, you know, he hadn't lost probes. He's got a good gateway count, so he can kind of remake the army. But it does feel like he's definitely on the back foot. With Queen on this many hatcheries, this many mineral patches mining right now on 4 base, his economy is insane. He is going to make so much. You know, really, I feel like it's going to come down to High Templars. You know, it's like, do you get some snipes? Do these High Templars just massacre that Hydra army?
I got to say something real quick before this picks up. You could put the Templars in the shuttle.
Oh.
And this is like very rarely used, but it's pretty good. Is the mutas, well, I guess if you have Scourge, you just kill the shuttle, but the mutas can't kill the shuttle that fast.
Yeah.
He actually tries to run by, maybe for like this Zealot drop or DT drop. That gets spotted. So Queen's doing the same thing he did on Eclipse, where he's like, I got some mutas. He's actually got a lot. He's got enough mutas that he can always snipe High Templars. And I don't know, without a Dark Archon, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to hold this.
Well, there are so many Psy Storms on these right now, and he's going to run right over. That was insanely good Psy Storms, but he's going to pick off a lot of these High Templars as well, unfortunately. He tries to get some Storms down onto these Hydralisks before losing them all, but the mutas just do too good of a job. I guess he's got this high ground, and that is a lot of Dragoons, but I'm not sure that's enough to actually hold this. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Dragoons are great on the high ground, but we need to see a lot of Zealots and Templars come in behind this. One of the things you want to do when you're taking a fight like this is you know you're going to lose the Zealots first, so you want to make the Zealots. You know you're probably going to lose the Templars, unless the fight's going really well. This is the most pushable base on the map, PVZ, because you can take that high ground spot, and he's going to get the hatchery. So Queen showing a lot of respect here. He says, I don't want to overextend here. I can probably just do the same thing again earlier, kill Templars, and win. So the Templars are out. The question is, will the Mutalisks find their target?
Well, right now, Queen moving down the map still has that army advantage. Yeah, he lost his 4th, but he is making a new one on the right-hand side of the map. The Dragoons getting back onto this high ground over here. He has a ton of units up in that, like, third base, I guess, location, that third gas. But that makes me scared because, like, yeah, he needs that there in case you attack, but if you attack his front right now, these Dragoons need to go down to help to hold it.
So he's just got the Hydras fanned out here, ready to basically intercept. He doesn't want anything too surprising happening. Zerg has remade the 4th base, by the way. Really interesting to see Queen not panic and try to reclaim that 4th that was attacked over there, but instead be like, no, I'm going to play this safe. Zerg, by the way, is kind of locked into the layer tech with this. You're basically looking for a fight. I think that Queen might have sat on this for too long. By the way, no Dark Archon. We keep talking about this. Best is the most known for Dark Archons out of anybody in the ASL.
None of them.
Game 3. It's certainly this game, the most appropriate moment to get a Dark Archon.
For sure.
Because you can freeze him with Maelstrom, and then you kill him with one Psystorm, or an Archon runs underneath him and blows him up. And so the push is going to come out. So the Mutas came in and started to hit the workers, so that prompted Best to basically go for another push.
Wow, he had a lot of Overlords fly in. That was like 6 Overlords going down, so Queen does have a supply block at the moment. He's still killing a lot of probes. But if he's killing probes with the Mutas, he's not killing High Templar. And if you, like, Hydras alone can't beat this army because of the Psystorm specifically. So the Mutas do need to pull back, and he does need to try to pick off some High Templars. And as he pulled the Mutas back, Best turned around. That kind of reminds me of how you move Bio around against Mutas, you know, to try to get them out of your base.
Yeah.
Oh, man, 3 High Templars.
I mean, this is so many Mutas. And the thing is, like, you can probably kill these Templars. A lot of these are caught. You know, it's so crazy how Mutas are hard to kill when they're bunched up like that. Everything seems to just pick their own target. I think he has wiped all the Templars out again.
Is this fair, Tasteless? I'm watching this. I'm like, I would not be very happy if this kept happening. All my High Templars. It's so crazy.
Oh, it makes me insane. And I do feel like what you got to do is get a Dark Archon, but then again, the Dark Archon has to be in the right spot, right? It's like you've got one Science Vessel and you're trying to EMP an Arbiter or something, right? And you're like, well, I don't know. I got to get it over there first. A good Psystorm, but what we need is like 4 Templars with Psystorm.
Yeah.
And
he just doesn't have enough.
Think
that's it.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
game.
This is it. We need Dark Archons. More Templars are coming up. But this was a lot of Dragoons killed here. The whole idea is that the Psystorms come down as the Dragoons attack.
Yeah.
And the Hydras, even if they try to run around, the Dragoons damage them. And so the punish is there, right?
I'll tell you what,
maybe
Tasteless, the DT drop, it had high potential to win Best the game, I think. There was like a lot of... I think it was really intelligent. I think it was a great try. But you said it well, where like, you know, that money could have gone towards a Dark Archon. It was really Mutas sniping High Templars that ended up winning the game here for Queen.
Will we have the Dark Archons, man? I'm kind of pulling my hair out here. Maybe you guys are at home too. We've seen it done when it doesn't work, but Queen is... What's important to know, guys, it's not just that he's making Mutas. He's making over 2 control groups of Mutas. He is fine losing every single Mutalisk he makes if he kills off 4 or 5 High Templars.
It's crazy.
Now, to me, I look at that and I go, okay, well, you got to get something that's going to freeze that. You got to get a punish in there. Queen never cries.
He's got baby arms.
He's like naked in his sleeping bag. I'm like, yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. Guys, Game 4 coming up next on Death Valley. We will be right back.
이 에너지 드링크는 이것을 올리지 않아. 단백질이 들어있거든. 청량하게 마시는 단백질 에너지 드링크. 에너지가 담백해. 하식스 5%.
너 너무 장문충이야. 짧게 해줘.
아니야. 반말을 하네 친구가. 안녕. 너 지금 내 말 들리니?
안녕. 또 궁금한 거 있으면 언제든 편하게 물어봐.
반말을 하네 친구가. 아니 원래 제가 반말하면 반말하는 거야 이 친구도. 아 안녕 나는 스타크래프트 전 프로게이머 도재욱이야. 나 알고 있어?
그럼 도재욱 선수라면 모를 수가 없지. 레전드 트로토스로 정말 많은 팬들에게 사랑받았던 선수잖아.
그럼 혹시 내가 어떻게 게임을 플레이하는지 알고 있어?
도재욱 선수는 안정적이고 정교한 트로토스 운영으로 유명해. 빌드 선택이 깔끔하고 한타 싸움에서도 타이밍을 기가 막히게 잡는 스타일이야. 상대방의 허를 찌르는 전략과 유연한 플레이가 돋보여서 많은 명경기를 만들었지.
잘 모르고 있는 것 같은데. 내가 8강에서 만나게 되면 좀 까다로운 선수가 누가 있을까?
8강에서 까다로울 만한 선수라면 정윤종이나 김태용 같은 선수들이 떠올라.
그럼 김민철을 만난다면 어떻게 될까?
김민철 같은 저그 선수랑 만난다면 중후반 운영과 멀티 싸움에서 특히 신경 써야 할 것 같아. 김민철은 수단까지 끌고 가는 운영 능력이 뛰어나고 변수를 잘 만들어내는 스타일이니까 초반부터 주도권을 잡는 게 중요해.
내가 좀 첫 경기를 많이 치는데 첫 경기에서 이기려면 어떻게 해야 될까?
첫 경기를 잡는 게 정말 중요하지. 일단 초반 빌드를 안정적으로 준비하고 상대방의 특징이나 스타일을 잘 파악하는 게.
알았어, 안정적으로 할게. 고맙다. 인문센데요, 이 완전. 뭔가 스타를 잘 아는 듯 모르는 듯 하면서 애매하게 답변을 하는데 일단은 뭐 안정적으로 하니까 안정적으로 해야 될 것 같고 그래도 이렇게 또 좋은 말을 해주니까 도움이 많이 되는 것 같아요.
GPT야 안녕. 내가 누군지 맞춰볼래?
아, 또 그런 게임이야? 알겠어, 해보자고. 너는 프로게이머야?
나는 스타크래프트 프로게이머였어.
어느 종족으로 주로 활동했는지도 알려줄래?
은퇴는 진작에 했고 저그로 활동하고 있어.
아, 저그 종족에 은퇴한 프로게이머라. 혹시 전성기 때 우승 경험이 있어?
은퇴하고 나서 우승한 적은 있는데 나는 좀 잘생긴 저그 프로게이머야.
국내 ASL에서 활동했고 잘생긴 저그 프로게이머라. 혹시 이재동? 잘생긴 저그 프로게이머는 딱 떠오르는 사람이 그분이거든.
야 GPT야, 이재동 말고 더 잘생긴 사람 있잖아.
잘생긴 저그 프로게이머가 한 명 더 있다니?
성은 김씨야.
아, 김씨 성을 가진 저그 프로게이머라면 김명훈 선수 얘기하는 거지? 그 정도 힌트면 확실할 것 같아.
그렇지 그렇지. 역시 너는 천재구나. 그럼 GPT야, 그 김명훈이라는 선수는 어떤 선수야?
김명훈 선수는 스타크래프트 저그 종족으로 활동했던 유명한 프로게이머야. 특히 안정적인 운영 능력과 뛰어난 컨트롤로 유명했어.
역시 GPT야, 너는 김명훈에 대해서 너무 잘 아는구나. 김명훈과 라이벌이라고 불릴 만한 사람이 있을까?
김명훈 선수와 라이벌로 꼽힐 만한 선수라면 이재동이나.
너 이재동을 많이 좋아하는구나.
뭐 이재동은 워낙 레전드니까. 그 시절 프로게이머들은 다들.
이재동은 요즘에 연애한다고 바쁘다는 소문이 있던데 그러면 나를 더 응원해 줄 수 있겠니?
그럼 이재동이 연애로 바쁘다면 내가 너를 더 응원해 줘야겠네.
네가 좋아하는 그 이재동이랑 김명훈이랑 누가 더 잘해?
개인적으로는 이재동의 공격적인 스타일이 인상 깊었어. 항상 경기를 보는 사람들을 긴장하게 만들어.
AI가 너무 옛날 정보가 많은 것 같고요. 요즘엔 그래도 제가 이재동보다 조금 더 잘할 때도 있긴 한데 너무 이재동만 좋아하는 것 같네요. 네.
8강에 올라온 게 쉽지가 않더라고요. 잘 하는 게 중요할 것 같고 꼭 시드권 가고 싶습니다.
제가 우승 한 번 더 한다고 이재동만큼 레전드가 되진 못하겠지만 한 번 더 꼭 해가지고 저도 ASL 내에서는 최고 레전드가 될 수 있도록 이번에 꼭 잘해보도록 하겠습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. There has never in the history of an ASL been a stronger call for a Dark Archon. Am I right about this?
Yeah, of course. It is specifically
we
what the Dark
Archons.
Archon does, and it's something that Best does a lot. I actually think you're correct on your call about the DT drop being the reason he didn't go Dark Archon, because he spent a lot of money on that. The other two games were a little bit more wild, so it kind of made more sense that there wasn't a Dark Archon. He was like trying to do some other things in those games. But yeah, like that third game did feel like it was the best situation for that.
Well, look, man, if Best loses here, it's really hard to come back when you're down 3-1 at a best of 7. Fingers crossed. The map is Death Valley. Perhaps the strangest and most difficult map to play on for both sides here. But maybe this is a harder map for Protoss? I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one to call. But it's going to be a very different game for sure. We'll get into that as we get into the game. Okay, so Queen here in the top left. And Best here in the bottom right.
The Death Valley
Let's unpack this map a little bit here.
Okay.
Please. Sorry, Tastosis, go ahead.
So basically, Death Valley, guys, we haven't seen it a lot, so I guess we haven't gotten to talk about it that much. If you look at their natural expansion, so for Queen right here that we're looking to the right is his natural expansion. For Best, it's to the north. Okay, if you make a diagonal line from those two bases to each other, that's half the map, and then the other half is the other half. And you cannot go between them except through the main bases, or obviously by air. So it's kind of like two different maps. You have this very small map in the top right, and you have a bigger map in the bottom left. And it's up to you how you want to end up playing that. So it's absolutely insanity. The geysers, of course, if they get killed off, no units can make it through there. Mobility could be key here. You know, you can give up one side and focus on the other side by killing your geysers. A few things to note. Tons of gas on this map. Really good defensive chokes and ramps as well. I don't really know what to think here. I almost feel like if we were going to watch Mini, he might go like Corsair Reaver here. You know, like there's some small chance that I don't think we'd ever see Best do that. That doesn't feel like it's in Best's wheelhouse, really. Not something he would be likely to use. But it's a crazy map, and it's just not played as much as the other maps. It's like the most vetoed map by miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a map that's so hard to play on that we basically don't see it, right? We have to get into the best of 7 territory of ASL to where you don't have an option. You got to play on these maps. So, okay, he does manage to get it through. Queen basically stacks the drones. They both will do that if you tell them to mine on something, and then you tell one of them to stop and click through. And so you can ghost the drone through or dance it through. And start a base over there. Over here, we have Best going for an expand build, but it's in the opposite direction here. It's through the geysers.
I gotta admit something, Tasteless. This map, I played one game on the ladder the day it came out, and it went as I expected it to. Where like Zerg double expanded at the beginning and just instantly killed me with like 1 million Mutalisks, and I couldn't switch sides quick enough and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm not even going to waste my time. So more recently, I actually played some practice games on this map, just like some customs. It's actually really fun. It's insane. And like, if your opponent gets carriers, you're dead. But, well, for PvT at least. But like, it is actually a very fun map. Watching each player seesaw from one side to the other, and if you really lose the top side, you can just kill your geysers and kind of be like, okay, we're still going to play, but it's going to be in the bottom left now. And I guess you get that extra base in the top right. Good for you. You know, it's just, it's a hard-to-play map, and it's really different, and it's hard to balance something like this, and I don't even know exactly where the balance lies in Zerg vs. Protoss, but it definitely has some very fun features about it.
You know, whenever I see these super crazy maps, it always brings me back to this memory in my childhood where, like, when I first got into multiplayer, like, I did BGH for a little bit, not too long, and then eventually I'm like, oh, I guess the real games are on maps like Lost Temple, and then eventually I found out about these tournaments, not even just the ones the Korean pros were playing in, but the big foreign players were playing in, and I'm like, oh, they play on all these different maps.
Yeah.
And then when replays come out, I remember specifically seeing this replay of Smuffed versus NTT on some map that was like filled with islands, not Dire Straits, but like something else. It was like big land bridges and islands, and the game went on for like an hour, and it was so good, and there were so many different parts to it, you know, and they couldn't kill each other off, and it was just like full of wonder, you know. And I started playing on those maps, and it was really fun. But when you played for 26 years and you're thrown into a map that's this hard. Like, even at our level, I'm like, oh, no, I don't. Like, your initial instinct is to be like, there's just too many things I got to learn early on to even be viable, you know?
Yeah.
It's why there's more of a baseline for both maps. But look, I mean, this game's sizing up to be one. And by the way, this map is not as crazy as some of the older maps where it was like pure islands. Here, there's like kind of different ways to expand. Even that's incredibly complicated. But yeah, this game's looking like it's going to be a real powering game here. Not a lot of zealots. Layer tech coming up here. Corsair and either Speedlot or DT tech.
I'll tell you, Tasteless, I feel like this is, and there is a Hydralist end, but I feel like out of all the maps, I would want him not to have Corsairs on this map, so maybe like the 3-hatch Hydra would have made sense here. Obviously, we don't know what Queen is planning, but like, you know, just having anything that can switch sides quickly, any amount of air units, I feel like is something that would be incredibly helpful on this map. Like, you know, obviously I'm not a Protoss player, but if my opponent went layer here and I felt like I could make a bunch of Corsairs, I'd be like, all right, good. At least I can scout the left side throughout, you know?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally see where you're coming from here. We'll have to see if this is a game where they can even try to hurt each other that much early on. It does seem like there's nothing that makes Protoss have to take that third base fast. And I guess if I try to kind of widen the aperture here and look at the map, it does seem like it actually could be an awkward map to take a fourth base. So maybe the Protoss wants to go for like 2-base powering into let's just smash the Zerg's fourth base over and over and take a late third base. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I think I see what you mean by that. The one thing I would be a little bit worried about is getting rid of those minerals. A lot of pros that I've seen, I haven't seen a ton of games on this map because, again, not many people are playing it. But a lot of people mine out one patch going down to the third base. I think here for Protoss, you want to mine out all 3. For Zerg, 1 is fine. But, like, if he doesn't mine these all out and be able to very quickly bring his army down, I could also see Queen, you know, he's got great SimCity at his front natural. He might be able to deny the third if he focuses on the bottom part of the map.
Yeah, it's an interesting point here. So he's looking for an opening. This is like an army you definitely don't want to commit with. He's basically trying to hit just 2 different sides, and I think this is going to work. There's just literally nothing down here. I'm actually a little bit stunned. So he's like kind of doing a little sleight of hand here with the army. Oh, God.
Nice.
Sometimes I think it's even better to just go for the drones at the gas. Just like get whatever you can.
Hmm.
And he's going to go right into the main.
Well, there's already Overlord speed. This is a good anti-DT play anyways.
Right.
Like if you go layer with Hydralist Den as opposed to Aspire, you always get Overlord speed really quickly. So, you know, 4 kills, it's not nothing. And look at that. Oh my God, he's going to contain.
Whoa.
Dude, he's going to set up a contain here. This is so crazy.
This is wild. You know what's funny? Dude, I guess you can just snipe probes that are going to mine there.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was talking about where I'm like, you gotta just mine out these patches. Like, I've actually, the few games I've played here, there has been some annoying things that have happened at those patches where I'm like, God damn it, just like let me get out at my base.
Yeah. No, that's kind of crazy. So hatchery contains are just not around. That's about as old, by the way, as the like Zealot, the 2-gate on the low ground Zealot rush we saw. The reason why is that generally you can just do lurker contains and you're probably fine. But if you really want to make the contain never end, players used to make the hatchery there, and they would make a bunch of sunken colonies and spores and lurkers. And it was just really hard to do. Nowadays, people are generally so good that they can just get out of it. But because of this weird circumstance where there's a mineral wall here, I guess he just can't get probes to mine here.
Well,
which is so funny to me.
But if he brings too many units down here, you might be able to just go break his natural. If you win the top part of the map, don't forget, you win the top part and like force Zerg to shut down their geysers so there's no unit movement, you can just take that top right as your third, you know? Like, you can just take that and say, okay, yeah, you know, and look, it looks like he's going to do that as well.
Yeah, this is a funny situation. There's definitely going to be a little bit of weakness here for Queen. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot. He's turtled up in a way this Lurker's going to be hard to hit, especially with just Zealots. It's hard to appreciate how painful this is if you have never just had only melee units trying to bust an area like this. And so, I mean, he really committed there and killed a Lurker, and then 3 more pop up in its place, and there's just nothing you can do.
And how do you ever break out of this now? You, like, you'd have to Psystorm every Lurker down and then try to mine. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This looks really smart from Queen.
Now, here's something else to keep in mind. The cannons and the Lurkers, they kind of stop the drones. I mean, the Lurkers stop the probes from mining that out, the minerals here. The cannons stop the drones from mining it out. So they can't attack each other from this point in any serious way. So there's no counterattack potential on either side.
Yes.
Which is very unusual. We never really see this in games, but that seems to be where we're kind of at with this.
But how do you actually eventually, let's say that Best wins the entire top of the map. So he's taken this space, okay, he gets it mining. Let's even give him, he eventually kills the natural of Queen, and Queen shuts down, you know, kills his geysers and shuts off his base. How do you ever go as Best from top right to bottom left? Because there's more bases bottom left. So you do have to go there eventually. You can't just say, I have this half and you have that half. Bottom left is more important than top right.
You make a very good point, Tastosis. I hadn't really thought of that. Oh, is he going to kill? Now, if you
no,
kill
he's going to get it
gassers,
close.
then you...
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like, I actually think this is the right way to play on the map, is you get your own geysers really low, so you can just like, ejection seat emergency button, and just be like, oh, he has overwhelming army on this side, and you just bust it down, and then you're safe.
Interesting. So he's got a Zealot rush coming here. I don't know if there's enough Hydras to defend this. Feels like in Queen's games he always has enough. And I think this game's no exception. Yeah, there's just always kind of enough. So, I think Zerg's going to get to take that. I keep thinking about the point that you made earlier, Tastosis, that like, yeah, Protoss has his top right base, but like the rest of the map is actually on the Zerg side. So that's pretty big.
It's a bad situation for Best. Very, very bad. And he doesn't have that long. The geyser at the third base is only 3,000 gas. You know? That's
right.
That's rough. So that's like, you know, he's going to run out of gas there. What is that, 10 minutes of gas?
Oh my god. The Lurker's very painful. This is looking more and more like a Queen game right now. This just looks so good. This is why you probably wanted to keep those Corsairs alive. Cannons with Corsairs could have spotted this and just killed this off. So he cleans it up. Not the end of the world. I almost think the Protoss has to push. And by the way, this is one of the first times I'm ever going to say this unit in the matchup, but I do wonder about an Arbiter.
I was literally thinking that, but I'm like, he's so sick of me bringing up Arbiters in this matchup.
What about Carriers, Tastosis? Like, let's kill my Goliaths. No, I think an Arbiter kind of makes sense because you could just do a big recall and then push somewhere.
Well, how else are you going to clean up stuff? Because you can't do it with shuttles. Like, it'll never work shuttling everything over.
Yeah.
Like, he shuttled all those Zealots over, and that took a long time, and then they didn't do anything. Imagine when both sides are maxed, which is coming very, very soon. You need to be able to move. Like, he needs not just a recall, but total recall. Hey, he has one! Holy crap!
Oh my god, he's doing it.
Holy crap!
Okay.
We're right,
we didn't see that tech until now.
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life!
Now he just has to win.
Dude.
Finally. What? Okay, he's going for the main.
Yeah. Let's go.
What? He can do this right over here. Boom.
Dude.
Gets that out. There's like one Templar. Oh, no, sorry, 2 Templars here.
Oh my god, he should actually kill that geyser too, to trap everything on the right-hand
wall
side.
Is insane, by the way, at the bottom. That's crazy. There's like Zealots trapped in with nothing but lurker eggs. So he can kind of like kill him from the inside out.
Oh my god, finally a Protoss has used recall against Zerg. The new meta is forming, Tasteless.
The new meta is finally here.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It turns out Protoss can play PvT in all 3 matchups.
He should have killed the gas geyser because I think he's going to lose everything now.
Yeah, Yeah, no.
The problem, Artosis, is that Zerg doesn't have spider mines to run into. They can't plant their own spider mines to kill themselves with.
Tasteless, you give me lurkers and I will give you my spider mines. All right, this is... All right, so he's trying to force his way up the ramp.
Up.
I love that Best is just holding this position while he clears everything.
Yeah.
So good. He's killing so many tech buildings. And look at his army come up to sandwich that natural. I don't know how many lurkers are there, but unless it's a lot, he's going to be able to get it.
Yeah, let's take a look. It looks like this is barely going to be broken up here. God, he's going to move that army. I'm losing my mind. Oh. And the Hydras are going to try to kill this position down here so he can lock the army out.
Okay, he is going to kill this, and he is going to be able to clear his geyser, I'm pretty sure. So that'll trap Best's army on this side at least.
Oh, the lurker isn't killed.
Oh my
God. One observer is sniped.
That's so funny. And he kills his own geyser, so he will be able to kill this all off still, but you're right, that one observer going down, that lurker will be the only thing left over.
I'm sure he'll eventually get another observer up here and kill it. He's just going to go for the hatchery. Meanwhile, Zealots are just being fanned out on the map. He sees there's only one drone there. He can try to hit that. Use his Dragoon to try to hit these drones. Zerg is looking very brittle. Protoss needs another base, but not quite yet.
Wow. I tell you what, this map gave us recall in PvZ, so I am like literally a forever fan of this map right now. This is amazing. Another recall going to go off here at that 4th base location. He's going to smash it. Wow. Catch that just in the nick of time. Huge recall over here.
Does he have another Arbiter, by the way? This is the funny thing. Watch Scourge try to kill an Arbiter. It's like, oh, you have no idea how much HP that has.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be killed.
Like, oh, is that 4
you
missile
thought battle
turrets?
cruisers
LOL?
were bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, Arbiters are about
It's just an Arbiter running underneath cloaked Dragoons with a Scourge shoot it down.
You know, there's this old Chinese proverb, between an Arbiter and a Defiler. It means there's no good choice. Because, you know, a rock in a hard place, yeah? Huh?
No, I got it.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't laugh, so I don't think you got it because you didn't laugh, so pretty sure you didn't get it, Tasteless.
I smiled big. So he's got one more Arbiter here, and he's kind of flying right over this position. Best is going to come in here and smash this once more. Oh, I guess Lings can get through there. Is that correct?
No, Lings can't get
geysers?
through. Only Ghosts.
Okay, so
only Ghosts.
Those were there earlier. Okay, well, he's going to get this last really important spot. The base here doesn't have anything, so it's like a paperweight. But the base north of this one up here, this is like where all the drones are. Okay,
he should not recall there.
He can't recall there. That would be the worst recall of all time.
Thing is, the Arbiter, this might surprise you, it doesn't have detection. It has everything else, but it doesn't have detection, so he doesn't know there's a bunch of lurkers here.
He actually wants it to recall. Okay, he actually gets it there, but he's hitting at the same time in a way where I think he will break this.
Yeah.
This is kind of insane. He needs to get storms off on those lurkers. Luckily, the lurker shots are being split everywhere. Is there an observer? Am I crazy?
He had an observer, but I think he got picked off. Like, he recalled an observer in there. And actually, Queen will end up holding this. I thought for sure he was going to break it. Might be able to get this hatchery, but Queen's coming down pretty quickly as well. Oh, what are you doing? He's
you know what I didn't even think of is that the Zerg is mining from this base just outside the Protoss' base.
That's
true. I kind of ignored that. I had sort of treated that like it was this outpost, but in the reality is it is a base. There are resources there. I wish our observer would go over this spot because can he like put Dragoons or Templars there and hit the drones that are hitting that? Because that would be a great way to just shut down the economy.
That's true. He has something behind it. Maybe a cannon. Maybe he's denying like a patch. It looks like, I think he's not mining from the right patches, from the containment hatch. You thought 2 Scourge would kill that? Oh, man.
How many Scourge is it? I think it's 4?
It's 4 Scourge to kill one, yeah.
Okay. So...
Well, he just needs to upgrade Stasis Tasteless. That's what happens when I'm going to EMP one. They just stasis it and then do the recall. Very simple.
He's driving him out. I didn't think that was a wise decision to try to take that, but sometimes in StarCraft you just have to take what you can get. Now, the dilemma here right now for Bess is that he has like a really scary army that he can't roam the map with.
Yeah.
Because he can't get it on a low ground. There is a bug that I think we've never talked about, and I don't know if they fixed it, so I'm just going to start explaining it, and you tell me if they fixed it. the total recall bug where you get all the units to bug out on top of each other.
Oh, it's still there.
To the point where they're so stacked that you could recall an entirely maxed army. He decides to go for Hallucinate instead, which is very cool. This is very, very cool. He's going to try to just clobber the main. He wants to wipe this out and do a tech reset.
Detection doesn't show you which Arbiter is real in this situation. Oh, he got it. He got it.
He just knew.
Yeah.
Now, I want to show the instinct there was so good because he looked at that and said, I think your Arbiter is one in the middle.
Well, also,
it's definitely not in the front.
If you click on him, it had damage. So that's like the biggest giveaway.
What?
Yeah, his actual Arbiter had damage. Like, his Arbiter was damaged already because it took scourge hits.
I'm sorry. I thought you could, like, tell if it could deal damage or not. You're right. A hallucinated Arbiter is not likely to already have damage in a game like this.
The only way to tell is how much damage they're taking. But yeah, eventually you have to kind of predict and be like, this is where I think the Arbiter would be. But then mind games start where they put the Arbiter, the real one, like, is second in line instead of last in line and that type of thing.
So let's talk about total recall for a second, just in case we actually get it. There's a way, I think you use a probe to do it, like a probe with a mineral. You move it through the whole army, and then there's a way to bug everything where they all start to stack.
Yep.
And you can recall, like, a maxed out army. I don't know if Best even knows how to do it in a moment like this.
I think he should know how to do it. He does. Okay, well, he does just a regular recall here.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of units he brings in. So he will be able to bust through this base. DT's at the other base, but looks like he has enough units there. Damn. A lot of units are coming down to counterplay to try to clear this out still and hold on.
He's going to mine it out. That's what's most important. If he mines it out, then he's fine. He gets one open, so it's okay. He can reinforce. That's all you have to do. So he can come down here with Templars. I mean, you could fight Hydra Ling all day. We're in this game 22 minutes almost.
Yeah.
So he's happy to just take these fights. In fact, Queen may lose the game because he's trying too hard to prevent the recapturing of this position. How many more storms are actually in the pocket here, though? I mean, we've seen so many, but there's still this ocean of Zerg stuff coming down.
Oh, my God.
He gets another storm here.
If Queen is actually going to have enough units to kill this whole army off, that's kind of crazy. Okay, more units coming down now from Best. Best, by the way, is barely mining. He's only mining from Queen's natural right now, so he needs to get down here and take this immediately. Like, he cannot let Queen deny this. If Queen denies this, despite the Arbiter play, Best will end up losing.
Right now, Best only has a moral victory.
Yeah.
After that, that's it. So he's got Arbiters here. I mean, I don't know if he has Stasis, but he could try to Stasis the Lurkers. That may actually make sense insanely in this crazy game that we're in. He flees up the ramp. Oof. The gas count is low for Best, and he's barely getting minerals. Queen is actually drinking up a lot more resources on the map.
Yeah, Queen actually does have a lot of bases.
Does have that mineral base.
I do wonder if he got Stasis.
Another big recall out here?
I tell you what. Stasis here is way better. If he had 2 Stasises, I could see him getting down there and breaking that really easily. But I don't even remember last time I saw Stasis for Zerg.
I literally don't know if you want to Stasis that. I think that sounds really bad, actually. But
no.
Stasis a Burrowed Lurker?
No, well, that's not what I would Stasis. See, like this group of Hydra Ling over there? If he doesn't have that, you just run down here and kill everything. You know?
I think you could Psystorm that, though. I think that might be...
Well, I mean, Psystorm's right. Hey, he does have Stasis! Oh, my God.
That's wild. All right, we got a Stasis versus a Zerg. What a special day.
Yeah.
I think the Lurkers may be too well placed.
You might be right.
I think we're actually going to see Best tap out. Yeah, I think he
my God.
just has enough, and there's not enough money coming in. Had we had a better recall, like one in the main that wasn't picked off, maybe Best would be in a different position. But right now... even though Best is doing an insane job of holding, there's just too much money in the bank. There's too much coming in. The only location that Best has is a location that's going to be mined out soon. We see fresh bases all over the map that are being taken. The Arbiter's going to come
Stasis!
up. He needs to
I think he was trying to Stasis there. He was like, oh, shit. Here they come.
I don't even know if you can turn the Arbiter and Stasis that fast. It's one of the weird things is the Stasis spell, when you try to do it manually, it's like such a weird...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can like Stasis something that's chasing you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's a weird... like, to have to turn around and do is tough. GG.
GG.
All right, after that game, Tastosis, I just have one question. It's actually about the definition of a word. Can you be alive and still considered a martyr?
It's so funny. I think you can. I think we gotta go and change the definition if it's not.
Well, I think that we have just created the first Protoss martyr today. If there has ever been, if there has ever been a moral victory, it was that one. In fact, right now the scoreboard says 3-1 Queen. For me right now, this is 3-2 best. Okay, if he wins one more game, I am calling Soup and telling them that I will not cast another game until he's in the round of 4.
We got to check the rule book. It's got to say somewhere in there that if you recall a couple times versus Zerg in one game, you automatically move on to the round of 4. I mean, look at Queen. Queen is exhausted from that game. Best, you know, weirdly, I almost feel like he should be riding a high from that. You know? It's crazy that he made that work. And it's funny because it all goes back to the fact that he got a lurker outside of the mineral exit on that side of the map, and Best made a cannon, which ended up making it impossible for either side to mine that out. So suddenly the whole game became, I can't get my army to the side of the map with more bases.
Yes. That was so tough.
Are we going to another game, or do they cut the commercial? That was so long?
It was long, but I think it's like 1-2-2-2. That's how we do this. So I think we are going to have another one here. I tell you, that was such a pleasure to finally see Recall. And the thing is, like, no one ever does that, so it's not well practiced.
Right.
Honestly, I think if Arbiters ever could get regular usage in PvZ, I think there are spots for them. Like, he almost killed the whole main base. The game might have looked different if he had controlled that better.
I don't know, Artosis.
I do, Tasteless.
It's very much about he couldn't get on that side of the map, but I'm glad we saw it. Hey, I'm really glad we saw it. I hope we see it again, okay? I pray for that. That was one of the funnest games ever to cast. Guys, we're going back to, I guess, what we call normal maps, maps that are more ordinary, more traditional. We're going to Radon. Queen, if he wins here or wins any of the next games, he's moving on to the round of 4. Best needs the comeback of his life.
So, Tasteless.
Yes.
Now, I know if you're playing on Radon, you know, Radon's a map that we've had for quite some time now. I think it's probably the best 4-player map right now. Just really good in all the matchups, really fun.
I love it.
Seems really well balanced. Yeah. So, generally, the best place to try to get in for a recall against Terran is right above the natural. Would you think that is against Zerg as well?
We got to cast this from the Arbiter perspective entirely now.
Look, that's all I actually care about now.
By the way, I hope we get a Dark Archon if it's Mutas, because there's a very real possibility that comes. And it would be so nice to see.
I think for Best to, like, maybe trigger the moral victory rule, if all he needs to do to win this series is make a scout at this point.
Yeah, I think a scout versus Ling all in. Like, he's on one base, and for whatever reason, when, like, Corsair DT, but the Lings kept coming, and he just barely holds on until a scout goes into the drone line.
Yes.
And kills all the drones and then avoids the spore colony. And we're like, all right, well, you know what? You've just unlocked a secret trophy that we waited 19 seasons to give away.
Yeah.
What else could they possibly do that would be as crazy as that, right?
There's pretty much nothing else. I mean, carriers
on a scout.
Mind control would be the only other.
Carriers versus Zerg.
Yeah.
Carriers with Corsair D-Web, maybe.
Yeah,
that
D-Web.
would be one of those moments.
Mind controlling a drone.
Is there anything else?
Mind controlling a drone.
Mind controlling a drone.
Yeah.
Going for your own mutas, winning that way, that would be cool.
Muta Corsair. What are you going to do? You D-Web all the Hydras and just kill them with the mutas. So easy.
This is Forge first, and he is going to Cannon Rush. Oh my god, and he glitched his own probe to the other side. Okay, so... Whoop! So this Cannon Rush, you could only fit one... Well, maybe he cancels on one side here. Let's see how this actually works.
Yeah, I think so. He lets the bottom one finish. He's got the second one in here.
So he's going to be able to hit that drone. Oh, wow. I've never seen this version of this.
What?
Did he?
What?
I think he wanted to cancel the pylon, and he messed up.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was surprised
Well,
that
he can
his
come
probe
down here and
actually
do
won the
this
battle.
again.
Oh my god.
Well, the probe should have won the battle the moment it goes over because you always get a free hit. I've never quite seen a cannon rush done like this, and I am salivating.
He executed that so superbly.
So let me just, because I cheese a lot, I want to
cheese a
explain
lot?
what happened back there. Yeah, no, it's, believe it or not, also lose my heroes to creeps. All sorts of different types of styles coming out for me. Usually you make space for 2 cannons back there, and then you plug it up. But what he did is he made space for 1, and it's harder to drone drill back there if there's just 1 cannon making. But the idea is that you only have 1 cannon, right? So they can kind of hold it anyways. Then he goes around and does another block with a second probe and makes a cannon over there. So it's technically more expensive, but you're insured to win with the rush, so it doesn't matter. But I think the cancel was a mistake. The cancel on the cannon, I think that was an error.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe they'll show in the instant replay.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. Lings come out, and Lings can kill the cannons pretty well. The pylon he's leaving there just for now to kill off the Lings. Oh my god. Dude, are you serious, actually?
Oh, yeah. This is art, really.
Oh, this is art.
This is a beautiful thing. God, that was a great little maneuver there. He just plugs it up with the pylon, then the probe's there.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to get your Lings back there, by the way. Like, it's really hard to get melee units into a narrow area. Like, it's fine getting 1 or 2, but when you get enough, they're just going to bump into each other. It's chaos. So, he's forced to cancel on that hatchery. Keep in mind, this was not a cannon rush that killed a hatchery, which is usually, that's the most ideal. Is they go, let's do this, and then you come out and you win.
Yeah, I got to mention something about that cannon rush, by the way, that I wanted to mention before. Watching him execute that, because he has been like the stalwart cannon rusher in ASL. He's been the guy that's kind of kept it alive over the years when other players weren't doing it. Watching him do that, and anyone who's a fan of both StarCraft 1 and 2 will understand this, it was like he was playing StarCraft 2 and everyone else plays StarCraft 1. In StarCraft 2, a well-executed cannon rush, you just can't really stop it if the builds line up correctly and everything. It's just like everything gets tight, and there's not like the same types of glitches in StarCraft 2. And it felt like watching that, where I'm like, damn, you just can't stop it, So
yeah, cannon rushes
impressive.
in StarCraft 2 are a lot scarier, and you can develop into other stuff. Cannon rushes in StarCraft 1 are kind of played on a knife's edge, and if you can get in there and do the damage, it's huge. But if you can't, you're going to be feeling it. So, positionally, Zerg's in a spot where there are 3 openings. All of them are kind of hard to hold. There's a reason why you always want to have your natural expansion taken. That's the area the cannon rush happened at, because that protects your main. So in this game, there are 3 bases to defend, all of which could be hit. The cannon's still alive, but it will be killed off eventually here. There's going to be 4 Hatch Hydra coming into this game. And you really need to kill that cannon because you don't want them staying there. Like, one of the biggest mistakes you can make right now is to go, like, Mutalisks or something. Because they could, like, there's all this weird stuff they could do. They could, like, make a gateway there and, like, make DTs or, like, make more cannons. And there's just... Not that it's even, like, a great way to play, but it just makes sense to clear this out with other ranged units where you can take a fair fight.
Yeah.
Protoss is going to be able to tech up, and it seems like the build of the day here from Best is always to go for 4-gate charge lots. And we don't see this that often. This is very different, by the way, from what Bisu does, because Bisu's not cannon rushing every game. He's really going for, like, +1 attack Corsairs. I don't know. Is he going for +1 attack Corsairs, actually, too?
I don't know if he's getting the +1 right now. I do want to mention I just heard a bunch of 3 eggs cancel, so I'm not sure what that was, but I did hear 3 canceled eggs. Yeah, which, whatever that was, I mean, that's a lot of larvae to go away. Now, the Corsair flying over, he sees everything going on, and I got to tell you, like, the 4-gate Zealot is kind of making sense to me. The amount of Zealots he has and the speed with which he's getting those out, like, it's giving him more counterplay against this type of rush than we normally see Protoss players have. Because a lot of times you hold with cannons, you have Psystorm, you build up your army incrementally, you start to come out, maybe you run a few Zealots around while you take your 3rd base, and it always looks like that, whereas he's being Hydra rushed, and he's like, we're going to attack! Let's go!
So he just slipped out. I don't even know if Queen knows this is out.
He has no idea.
Yeah, this is crazy. He sees
he
it. He's going to run back. Now, again, in all the games we cast of these guys, it always seems like Queen just has enough Hydras. So it's cool that Best has been doing this, but I got to remind everybody that, like, there have been countless games now where the Zealots push out and the Hydras take them on. But it seems like now both groups of Zealots are actually winning the fight, which is huge. And remember, there are 3 locations to defend here. So this is super uncomfortable. Now, maybe he's going to muster enough Hydras as he Best pushes further and further across the map that he's going to be okay. But it's really hard to defend all this. Like, he can send one Zealot over here to hit drones and then just fight with everything else.
Well, it looks like he's cleaning up most everything up. The split of 4 Zealots in the main base does look a little bit annoying, so we'll see what he gets done with that. These Hydras in the mineral line will buy a little bit of time at least.
Yeah, I wonder if he should have backed up there.
Yeah.
I felt like it would have been just a cleaner move to kill the Hydras, and then when he has enough, you run back.
Well,
the Corsair's getting kills too. That's actually really important. I think a lot of times when we see games with one Corsair, we kind of ignore it and treat it like it's a scouting unit. If he kills a couple of Overlords with that, it's big.
Dude, I feel like Best has great sleight of hand. Like, these 2 Zealots just appeared out of nowhere. They almost... Does he have an Arbiter? Did those get recalled into there? What's going on here?
Clearly.
It's really the only move in PvZ these days, but... you know, they do get picked off there, and he's just bought so much time overall with the Zealots. But did the Zealots actually do enough? Or was it, like, a little bit wasteful? Because it did feel like their actual value wasn't that high. Well, look how many Zealots he has! What is this?
I wonder if DTs could have been stronger here, too. Like, charge lot straight into DT. I guess this is just kind of how he does it, though. He goes up to, like, 6 or 7 or 8 gates and just sort of powers out and knows the drone count's going to be lower. But I feel like in a game where you win with a cannon rush and they're separated from everything like this, the DTs are way stronger because they can, like, kill drones and run right back out on the map, and you have no idea where it is. It could even go to another base.
Yeah. Okay,
So he's going to get armor? What is this? The Zealots are at +1, right?
I believe so. I believe that's the case. Yeah, so he already has that +1.
no
That
armor.
was an armor canceled for sure. There are High Templars out. He's getting his Robo, plenty of gateways. Oops, accidentally rallies a couple drones up, but Queen's taking his 4th in the, his natural area, which is kind of funny. That's a very, very late time to take that base, but Best has a lot of Zealots right now. And, like, he has 1 Corsair. You know what? Like, I want Best to win this series so badly, Tasteless, that I'm getting, like, tears in my eyes. Because I'm watching this, and I'm thinking of the documentary I'm going to make about how Bisu was a scam artist with his strat with Corsairs, and actually Reach knew it all along, and he just had to retire because he was getting old, but he would have won he would have been the Bonjour and stuff, because we're literally watching Best not even care at all about Corsairs, just playing Mass Zealot Psystorm, and he's doing so well.
Dude, the way he's splitting the Zealots apart and then, like, running Templars back is incredible. Do we have muted tech, by the way?
I don't think
we
so.
haven't quite looked at a little bit.
I don't think he has Aspire.
I think he can actually push this down. He's going to try to come in and wipe these Templars. He actually somehow doesn't kill that one. Not that it's the biggest deal in the world. In fact, he needs to morph these into an Archon, like, stat.
Well, the Zealots continue to fight here. A lot of the drones did have to run. Ooh, he does have a Psystorm. Where do you put that juicy one? There was a lot of drones in the middle line still.
Oh, man. He's got to pick a good spot, and Queen is so good at dodging this. There's 2 more Zealots over here hitting this other base. It's a perfect moment where you're seeing Best basically exploit the fractured position here. So even though the main army is, I think, maybe going to get pushed back just barely, he's losing all the drones at this base, and that's probably going to be fatal damage. The Overlord is going to go down as well. You know that Best could easily send a DT into there as well. God damn, Queen is so good with the Lurker Eggs.
Cage Egg has been born today.
It was like watching one of those, like, Fortnite players, like, build a house around themselves or something. Like,
oh my god. You just gave Queen a compliment by calling him like a Fortnite player.
A Fortnite player. All right, I take it back. Sorry, I'll cut my tongue out now. No, that was insane, though. I mean, he basically turtle-dozed behind there. Queen's fighting really well, but losing this hatchery is going to be bad. It is going to set him back onto 3 bases, but the hatchery plus the drones is really severe damage.
Man,
yeah,
killing
go down.
that base. Yeah, Best is still only on 2 bases. He has something in the top left. I think that's a probe. Like, I think he's considering expanding top left right now. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah, it looks like the movement of it looks like it's a probe based on speed and where he's putting it.
These, like, elongated Zealot games where they're just like the Zealots are going on forever and still attacking and Hydras are being microed, they do eventually end when a couple Lurkers can barely be squeezed out. You can see the Dragoons are very, very late, so the Lurkers and Dragoons, tech-wise, are going to meet each other at about the same time in the game. Oh, whatever's in the top left is getting killed, by the way.
Oh, how did he know?
It was a probe.
How did he know? He sent his whole army there? Yeah, okay, I believe that.
Do we have Mutatech? Because we had it every other game. I think that's a Spire we just went by. I think the Obs just missed it. Yes, it is. It's a Spire. And Queen's banking a lot of gas. We're getting close to 700 gas. We can easily be up to 1.1k gas, which would be 11 mutas.
Well, he's already gone Lurkers too, though. Wouldn't it be better to go more Lurkers rather than add in Muta? Like, Muta Lurker is too much gas. Maybe the Spire is just like anti-Arbiter Scourge?
I mean, the truth is, like, if you go Lurkers first and then go for Mutas, it's a little bit awkward, right? Because you don't have, Lurkers and Hydras are kind of a defending army, not really a fighting army.
Yeah.
But let's see. I mean, the push is basically going to come before they can hatch, so the storms could come down before it matters. It is 1 observer, by the way. 1.
Good luck keeping that alive.
That is... Yeah, okay, well, who saw that one coming?
Oh, the second observer, he baited him!
It's his little brother
coming out.
Oh, my
God!
And he goes down. How big is this observer family? It doesn't matter because there's no Lurkers. Well, maybe there's one, but Best is going to be able to spill down into the natural. Oh, God, a lot of drones down here, too.
Dude, he is, like, just crushing right now. I think Queen is going to die here. He's got almost nothing left. GG! Best takes the game! Oh my God, he's looking so good. Tastosis, I actually foresee a problem in my own personal life right now. I'm going to start acting more withdrawn, a little bit weird. My wife's going to be wondering what's wrong with me. She's going to sit me down and be like, I think we need to have a talk. What's going on with you? Or do you not love me anymore? And I'm going to look at her with nothing but shame in my face, and her heart's going to drop. And I'm going to say, my favorite StarCraft player is a Protoss. And that's when she leaves me tasteless.
Why don't you ever speedlot me?
Unbelievable play from Best. I have never enjoyed a Protoss vs. Zerg series as much as I'm enjoying this one.
Oh, this is a great one, man. Love the cannon rush at the start. Very technical. A little bit more expensive, but a little bit stronger. Watch out on the ladder. Zergs are going to have a bad week. Look at Queen. He's like, Jesus, man.
God, yeah. He's like, I should be dead 5-0 right now. What's going on?
이 에너지 드링크는 이것을 올리지 않아. 단백질이 들어있거든. 청량하게 마시는 단백질 에너지 드링크. 에너지가 담백해. 하식스 5%.
Step by step, I've walked 100 miles and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wandered so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Can you hear me? Tell me, can you hear me? I've been calling out for help, still don't see nobody near me. I'm down and almost underground and so deep in the valley, I can't even tell you which way is the mountain. God, the only word I got, I could probably plant a garden, all this dirt I got blood all on his hands, but does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, say a prayer for me, I think you win in
Step by step, I walked 100 miles, and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wander so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely
Get off of this lonely road.
Would you catch me? Tell me, would you catch me if I told you I was sorry? Could I fall into your blessing? Would you wrap your arms around me? Never drown me. If I walk towards the light, could I tell him that you found me? God, the only help I got. I know some people plotting on me, probably thought I'd rot. Praying for my downfall, wanna take my spot. Guess I deserve it, all the evil came out my heart. But I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands, but does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, take me up, I pray to God I never
Step
land.
by step, I walked 100 miles, and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wander so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely
Get
road.
off of this lonely road. And get off of this lonely road.
Always new days, call it what you want. Keep pace, no craze when you wanna jump. We play all day, standing at the front. We stay, can't wait. Can you give me some? We go, can't stop the beat, it can't be. We know, break out the scene, it can't see. Our soul can't stop the heat again. Oh, so come and get some. So come and get So come and get some. We go, can't stop the beat, it can't be. We know, break out the scene, it can't see. Our soul can't stop the heat again. Oh, so come and get some. We go, can't stop the beat, it can't be. We know, break out the scene, it can't see. Our soul can't stop the heat again. Oh, so come and get some. We go, can't stop the beat, it can't be. We know, break out the scene, it can't see. Our soul can't stop the heat again. Oh, so come and get some. So come and get some.
We got the synth going. Of course, we've got the synth going. It's Queen versus Best, Game 6. We might very well get a Game 7, which, by the way, it's so rare in Best of Sevens. We were talking about this earlier, but it's true.
Yeah.
What a great series. Not a Dark Archon in sight. That may be part of Best's obituary.
Well, I gotta say, like, just watching the series, Queen's playing very well, and he's in the lead right now, and good on him. I feel like overall, Best is bringing more variety, more ideas than he's ever brought to a series, ever. This guy has been a pro gamer since like 2006 or 2007. And this is the craziest I've ever seen him play. I want him to win this Deja Vu map more than I've wanted anything in a long time, Tasteless.
Yeah, let's see. Going into game 6 now. Lurker contains, by the way, really brutal on this map. Really tough.
Does Santa have an email address? Because posted mail won't get there in time. I need to let him know that this is all I want right now.
You're going to have to add him on Telegram. That's the only way to get hold of him now. All right, cross spawns. Queen, by the way, whether by choice, by virtue of not being scouted and seeing an opportunity, has gone for Hydra Bust, or by forced defensive positioning has gone for Hydras. We haven't had a game where we go for 3 hatch into layer, inspire, scouting with the Scourge, anything like that. We've had explosive early game PVZs. Of course, we started out with the 2-gate, the pressure build that basically forced Queen to be, hobbling into the mid game and had to do something dramatic. It was punished. We had the Cannon Rush in the previous game that basically tripped up Queen enough to where he was, again, crippled in the mid game and unable to get too big. But we've also had games where Queen has done a great job of controlling. Now, Artosis, you were talking about how Best has brought so much to the matchup, which I think is true, but I would be a little bit critical of his mid-game tech always being mass Zealot pressure. Because it does seem like if you don't have a big Zealot rush or a Cannon Rush that works, Queen can kind of handle it.
Okay. I would like to counter that with it worked for Reach, so it can work for Best. Okay. But no, you're certainly right about that. Like, actually, that's the thing that I in the PVZs that I cast without you, the thing I'm most critical on is when people overmake Zealots, because I think Rain has really shown the power of Dragoons in the mid game, and that consistency of the damage, that push potential that you get. Whereas the Zealots, you're kind of like trying to pull them in multiple directions, out multitask, get them to make some mistakes, and that isn't always possible.
Yeah, it's funny, like watching Rain, it almost feels like he's not even doing anything, which isn't true or fair, but it feels like he almost doesn't even have a big interest in, the pre-Templar tech, right? Whether that's really intense Zealot rushes or getting Corsairs with +1 attack or having a lot of Zealots early on, or even, I guess he has gone for a Reaver in 1 or 2 games, but, he sort of stays back and just, gets the rest of the tech and gets his gateways, and it's honestly, it's not that exciting, but it works. But Bisu and Best this season have both really shown that they think there's a lot of ways to hurt a Zerg and stop the Zerg before they can get the tech that they want. It goes both ways in this matchup. There are ways to play where you're going to try to trip up an attack and be aggressive and be deceptive in this matchup. And Best is certainly leaning in that direction against one of the very strongest Zergs in this season of the ASL.
I love to see that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, because we're seeing this trend more and more, the New Age Wallen.
Yeah.
Where the cannon and the forge are more aligned. You can easily fit a cannon below the forge if you wanted to down there. The gateway's more exposed. And what this is, I guess the idea behind this is that I don't care if I lose the gateway as long as I keep the forge.
Yes, and we that has been like so regular, even in like all the ladder games that I've been casting and stuff. I've seen that pretty much every time now. But you were mentioning how Best and Bisu as well earlier in the tournament are both figuring out that there's different ways to hurt Zerg early on and still get to where you want to go. And I feel like this is a forced evolution that's happening, and I love to see it. We're in an era of Soul Key-led Zerg dominance. And, those eras, sometimes it gets a little scary where you're like, well, is this game going to break? We haven't had a patch in 25 plus years. Is the game going to be figured out to a level where no one can figure out what to do next? And the thing is, even when things get really bad like that, it kind of forces more creativity. and it forces people to find new ways. Terran vs. Zerg is evolving right now as well. Like, a lot of people are working on it because no one can seem to beat Sulky, or people who play in that style generally are just doing very well, right? And to see this evolution from the Protoss players by people like Best and Bisu, where they're like, yeah, we can alter all these things and get into a better spot, and you know, they're mixing it up, and this is how the game, you know, continues to change and maintains its health.
That's right, and stays fresh. You know, I always think back. We probably talk about it a lot, maybe too much here, but you know, when we came back from StarCraft 2 to cast StarCraft 1, because you know, Africa TV had started a new league, and we were like, no kidding, we're casting StarCraft 2 and 1 now? God, we just keep winning. And we both were pretty, maybe overly confident that we would just pick up where we left off. We were like, well, we know how this game works. We came back and like, everything's different. We're like, oh my God, I don't understand anything.
Yeah.
It's wild. And you know, even when we kind of caught up, I thought, okay, well, this will be fine. We know where the game's going, and it just keeps changing. It keeps being different. If you took 2 years off and you came back, you'd be like, man, everything is new.
It's the quickest changing the meta has ever been. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, this is different tech from Queen. I was talking about how he pretty much always goes Hydras. He's gone for the other standard play, which is 3-hatch Spire, probably with just Scourge to scout, but you can go Mutas with this. It is one of the you know, line openings that you can take. And in this game, it also seems like we're going for fast Templars here from Bast. So this could be fast DTs. If it was Rain, I would guess it would be Templars, but if it was Mini, I would guess it would be 6 Dark Templars and a very late High Templar tech.
I actually do think this is going to be Muta from Queen. At least 5. It looks that way to me, and I actually think that that's a good call based on the minuscule amount of Corsairs and no +1 upgrades at all from Best that we've seen throughout this series.
Sure.
So I think that's actually a really great call. Now, a DT is actually slipping in very quickly.
Why are the Lings not here?
Oh, dude.
Oh my God, what am I looking at?
Oh my God. This is crazy.
Oh.
And he's killing all the drones over here. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, the amount of damage.
Oh,
this is
he might have
insane.
just done like neck-breaking damage. Like, this actually could just be fatal damage. This is like, you're never allowed to have this happen. You know, it's funny, a switch into just fast DTs after, you know, such heavy zealot pressure. Maybe Queen was playing a little bit too blind.
This is so beautiful. And now he's making Corsairs again.
Wild.
He's actually got 4 Corsairs right now. And he sees the Mutas with the DTs. So, like, this is going to buy him more time to set up his defense. Look at that, 5 Corsairs already.
Did he get air weapons for Corsair?
I don't know. I don't think he did, actually.
Both DTs are alive, by the way. Both DTs are living their best lives. He's actually could loop around the minerals here. Look at this.
Dude,
Oh,
did you see that Ling snipe?
Just run to where they're not. Yeah. He had Go-Go Gadget DT arms and just moved through the patch and killed the Ling.
Man,
Oh
he
my
has just done
God.
so well. He's up 30
Whoa,
supply
God.
right now. Isn't that crazy? 30 supply
That DT
advantage.
with Tom Cruise moving through the Mission Impossible lasers for a little bit.
Yeah.
So now he's got probably enough to just fight Ling Muta. One of the worst things that can happen to Zerg is 2 DTs get in when you're teching the Mutas. And then, like, behind this, you're just running around trying to remake drones.
Yeah. Well, he definitely has done it correctly. Is that actually a thing that you're looking to do against Muta? Is slip DTs in really fast?
Well, you send 2 DTs and you just see if you can get in, and if not, you kind of look for opportunities later on.
Yeah.
You know, Zerg really are burdened in this weird way where they have to, like, kind of move overlords around, and a lot of times there's just something that's not quite there to protect it. He's also doing the perfect control Bestis. He's got the Archon on top of the Corsairs with hold position so that he just targets these Scourge.
He's so god tier. He moved it out of sunken range to make sure that he wouldn't be getting it targeting the wrong things. And he's actually micro.
Oh, that's a very good observation.
That was
okay. What's
perfect execution. You can't tell me. Okay, this is best season. I'm done. I'm done.
This is one of the
not
best
winning.
PvZ series.
Sulky's not winning another Tasteless. I don't give a shit if Sulky gets the finals not losing a map. I don't care if his days are 1 hour long because his opponents leave because they're scared. Best is going to win this ASL. He is playing out of his
my
skull.
God. Look
This
at
is the
Queen.
best that I've ever seen him.
So uncomfortable.
Well,
he is like,
dude, he knows
lost.
he's been outplayed today. Out-strategized, outplayed, out-microed, out-macroed. Yes, he's won games, and that's going to happen. There's a lot of volatility in StarCraft, and Queen isn't playing poorly. It's at best is on a heater. He is, like, this is unreal watching him. He's crushing. Like, pulling that Archon back, he pulled it exactly out of sunken range, hold position, and put the Corsairs over it. When the Scourge and Mutas flew in, he targeted. Are you kidding me? I never see anyone do that. I don't see Mini do that. I don't see Best do that. I mean,
yeah.
BC
No,
do that.
I'm really glad you pointed out because it was subtle, and I would have skipped right over it. But keeping the Archon away, because that is the play, is you always take the sunken colony, you target the Archon, because when the Archon is gone, the whole army breaks, and you can drive it back. So he just like stayed in kind of a funny spot, far out, and let the Zealots, not even in a clean fight, kind of a sloppy fight the sunk. Because when the sunk falls, then the Zerg's position falls apart. Because then the Archon can merge with the Zealots and Corsairs, and there's sort of this impossible to engage death ball. Oh my God, what a series, man! What a series,
dude! It's
I feel like
unreal.
I should be doing pull-ups in between these games. You guys just hear me going like,
yeah. I'm watching
doing
like
sit-ups.
the greatest player ever. I'm actually done with Terran players.
Battle ropes. I'm just standing from my computer, just with battle ropes going up and down.
And then Best comes over and shows you how to really do them. Oh man.
Yeah. There is nothing funnier than battle ropes, man. Like
Yeah.
for hardcore workouts, it's like, all right, man. Guys, we're gonna go to Polestar. Get your battle ropes out. Protosses and Zergs, I want everybody on their battle ropes you keep underneath your desk at your PC. We're going the whole time until we find out who wins Game 7. Polestar will be our map. By the way, it was 1 win for Best, then a 3-win streak for Queen. Almost assuredly, he was going to take it. Best wins on Radon and Deja Vu. And again, very explosive aggro games. This Deciders match, I think, is ready to go.
Let's do it.
Yep,
Let's
I can
do
hear
it. I'm
Castro
ready.
Parks in the background. Let's go.
ASL Season 19. Feel the roar. Strike like never before. No retreat, no control. We are fire in the soul. Break the wall.
Tasteless. I already know the outcome of this.
Tastosis.
I already know the outcome. This is the universe has told me, because as we were doing that audience pan, in the front row, someone was wearing reindeer antlers on their head. One of those like girls' barrettes that have like the antlers coming out of them in the little ears. Reindeer. I just said I was going to email Santa Claus. He's literally watching this. He's like, ho, 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 ho. Best to the round of 4 for Artosis. You've been a good boy. A good macro Terran. And, yeah, Best. This is destiny right now. This is destiny
This has been
right
such
now.
a great series. Guys, we've set up a new goal on the Patreon. If you donate to us this season, Artosis is going to switch to being a Protoss player.
Oh, don't say that.
For the rest of his life.
I'm not going to do that,
No, but
Best is now my favorite player. That's it. It's over.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry,
think it's impossible
Sharp.
to not be a fan.
Yeah, no, he is. This is
But,
unbelievable. This is the best of 7 series. I can't think of one that I.
This has
enjoy
been a
more than
great
this.
series, man. This
Yeah.
is going to be hard to top for the round of 8 here. But just to get the plug out of the way, guys, we appreciate your support. We love you guys. We want to keep doing this forever. This game's been out for a quarter of a century, and it's getting more fun every season. So consider supporting us at the Patreon.
Queen's going
It's gonna
one
be
base
Forge
gas.
first.
He's going one base
Yeah,
gas.
he's going for 9 pools. Now, okay, so let's look at this. 9 pool speed is what you initially think when you see this, but there are other pathways you can follow. Now, 9 pool speed it's an old build, but it's very common on ladder. It is not common in ASL at all. We basically don't cast it. It's hard for new players to beat. When you become God tier, it's one of the builds you just kind of look at and you're like, you don't have enough drones. And there, by the way, there's a lot of different branches in the build, okay?
Oh.
So
He's hidden a probe.
oh, look at where he hid that.
He's
That
so
is
smart.
crazy. Like hide and go seek
Oh my
world
God.
champion.
Dude.
I didn't even know you could hide a worker there. Look at that. He's like, oh.
Dude.
Okay, so
this is
that
crazy.
hidden probe, and by the way, the second hidden probe is extremely important as well because you just have to scout what they do to counter it. So he sends the first probe in. This feels, I think, a little bit earlier than I thought, but I guess he wants to see if there's more lings coming out of this egg. So he scouts that there's no more gas. And yes, by the way, there is a one-hatch lurker build that you can do.
There is. It's,
we don't
it's so
see
bad.
It's bad. It's bad, but like
It works.
I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna name what Zerg can do right now.
Yeah. You're
He's
totally
watching the larva. He doesn't see more lings, which means he doesn't have to get another cannon. Now, I think Queen is being dealt a tough hand because he also has to make stuff. Speedlings will catch this and kill this, but until he makes stuff out of the eggs, it's hard to know. So he wants to kill this next probe before these 2 eggs hatch. Okay. So he makes 1 drone. We don't know if it's more lings. We don't know if it's more drones. This is really important with the 9 pool, and it's drones.
Dude, what is that probe doing at 12? Oh, it's just hiding?
Because you do a second scout with this.
Okay.
You do a second scout always.
It's like,
if
oh
you
my
can.
God, he's going to proxigate him too. It's so crazy.
He's going to make a robo there. And he even looks for it.
Oh, wow.
He even looks for it and sees it because you're always going to look for that second probe. By the way, this is a great game for beginners because people encounter this all the time in the ladder and they're like, oh, people are so good. This is really hard to deal with. It's fightable. It's just, I think, a little bit more burdensome for the Protoss unless you're an expert to fight. So he might have had a more sophisticated path he wanted to take, and he couldn't do it. So he might be forced to just do a Hydra Bust again or go for layer tech. But generally speaking, okay, so he goes for layer tech, but this is layer tech with less drones, by the way.
Yeah. There's no way to magically make up the amount of drones that you're missing from your opener. You got less larvae because of a later hatchery. You mined less minerals because you were getting the gas. You got the gas earlier, so that was 1 less on minerals anyways, or 1 less drone anyways at that point in the game. You've made all these Zerglings. Just everything is set back. Now, there are ways that you could try to greed from here and just threaten with the speed Zerglings. Like, a lot of times you'll see things like the speed Zerglings posturing outside and trying to make you, like, hey, maybe I can make him play a little bit more defensively by showing these off over and over. And the thing is, you got to kind of keep your cool and read whether this is real or not. Like, is your opponent just trying to greed behind this, or are they setting up maybe a trap?
Good kill by Queen.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just, now that we're talking about 9 pool, there's this funny thing that I saw Bisu do like years ago where he would, if you keep making lings, he just makes 1 cannon in his main. Because if you keep making lings, a lot of times the players would try to just run in their base. And then they just get there and there's a cannon and the lings can't do anything. But there's a lot of tools Protoss have to try to fight this. This one did not turn out to be a dramatic opener, despite it being a 9 pool speedling. Now, I guess he's just going to go for speed lots again.
But it's a quick spire here. I think he's looking at this, and he's thinking, okay, this is probably a 3-hatch Hydra follow-up. That would probably be more common in this case. But instead, it is a quick spire. And Best skipping his Stargate? Like, this is going to get tricky. And I'll tell you what, we will see a Dark Archon if he doesn't die.
Did he skip Stargate? I think I just totally missed this while we were talking about this.
Yeah, he skipped Stargate. He's just going directly into legs.
Wow, so he's trying to just, just completely KO a player who's going to blindly go Hydras. And Queen has already made an alteration in his build. But it generally feels, I think, harder for the Protoss if you end up playing against air and you don't have the Corsairs, because you don't have a direct answer. You have to get a lot of cannons. I've seen games where they get the Stargate a little bit later, which is kind of funny looking, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. And he doesn't do that. He gets the Templar Archives. I think this could be really hard for Best. I think a player like Queen, probably with a little bit of a build order advantage.
For sure. Well, the 9-pool speed was weak, but the follow-up is kind of a mind game, and it looks like it's working out. But if Best is across the map when the mutas pop out and they have to clean up the Zealots, that'll give him enough time so that he won't die to the mutas.
It's interesting because it kind of makes sense. If he went 9-pool speed and he saw drones being made, it's like, all right, well, then you're not going to have time to... Like, he basically to Zealot rush him before it can go the other way around. He sends 3 Zealots here. He's looking for drone kills. He goes on top of the sunken colony. He's going to run by, and this could let the next wave of Zealots go to either the natural or the third, and I think he's actually eyeballing both. He can send the Zealots behind.
Yeah, and he already has
he gets
plus
the Zealots
1.
through. That's so important.
Dude, he's going to kill this sunken so quickly. Best just crushing right now. Mutas start to pop out, so he does have to make anti-Muta at home. Queen does not die to these Zealots, but he definitely is taking some damage. And, you know, I think Best right now, it's like he's got to throw down cannons. I think you go Maelstrom here, but I guess we'll see. I can't imagine not going Maelstrom here.
I want to point out that Mutas don't kill Zealots very fast.
Yeah.
So he's going to run away. He says, I don't quite have enough. There are DTs inbound. He does have the cannons. The DTs are really important right now because the Zerg is really fractured. You can keep running around with the Zealots. That's going to keep the Mutas back.
If he's sending out
I don't know that
DTs,
he can actually get it anywhere.
Does he make 2 more for a Dark Archon, or does he do something crazy like go pure goon?
I know. I think the Dark Archons, I think it's a must. Hold on a second. He can actually run in here and just kill the Sunk? Or he can do this as well, I guess? This is kind of a funny
This doesn't look good.
Maybe
this part I don't like.
Can he not fit through the top of the hatchery there? Oh, man. That could have been a lot better. That could have been so much better.
Huh.
No,
Feels like very diminishing returns now.
I think that you can keep making DTs at home because the game's gotten very weird. It's not the same situation as before where you can only make 2 and you got to rush into stuff. Like, making Archons here is also fine. The Archons can just fight the Mutas, right?
Yeah. So you think it's just like make a bunch of Archons and go? I remember this games actually looked like this.
2 Archons is fine.
When Remastered first came out and we had KSL, I remember seeing a lot of PVZs that kind of looked like this.
Yeah, this is one way to do it. There is a kind of weird rule that we don't always see followed. I've seen Mini do it and a few other people. You can take a faster third that doesn't make sense if you're pressuring with Archon Zealot.
Huh.
If they're in a really bad spot. If they don't have Hydras right away, you can just like take a third base. God, that was so close.
That was so close.
Now, the turtled sunken colony is the backbone of the defense. Archons can't really reach it. Zealots can't really reach it.
Yeah, and the Mutas attack the Zealots that get in here, and then you target Archons with those Sunkens as they get into range.
Yes, that's exactly what you want to do.
And see, he's already retargeted those.
I think Best is trying to force this, and this is really dangerous.
Well, he has enough Zealots.
Okay, he's going to get the Sunk, but there could be Hydras coming. More Zealots are going to come up. Now, the problem is that the Mutas are slightly better in range.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so they take the Archon out.
Uh-oh.
If the Archon's at full HP, it's a little bit harder to take. Look, here's the thing. A lot of drones have been killed. Here's that sneaky third I was talking about. I guess he's already at 7 gates. Oh my God, why do Templars do this?
Do-si-do and promenade the ring. All right. I got to tell you, Tasteless, I'm feeling a little bit sad here because I feel like Queen is, with that hold, he didn't take much damage. His drone count is phenomenal. His tech is good. Best armies don't look better now. Like, I mean, the Dragoons will obviously do a little bit better than the Zealots, and you have the Archon, so the Mutas can't just jump on the Dragoons too easily. But I don't think that this army moving across the map actually beats what Queen has. I don't see that. That's so many Mutas.
Well, there's so many Mutalisks. Queen makes more Mutas than you really see in this matchup. I think he makes more than anybody I've ever seen, like in the modern play.
Huh.
He's like making like 17 or 18 Mutas. Like, it's kind of crazy. Now, Dragoon Archon beats that, so it's not like Best made the wrong stuff. I know we keep talking about Dark Archons. I don't know if this is exactly the kind of game where it's like that's the only play. We're getting Hydras out here now. Now, the thing is, Dragoons outrange the Hydras. So Dragoons with any backup versus Hydras, it's really easy to micro for the Protoss. I've seen this play as well. When they turtle up, apparently what Protoss want to do, and I saw this in a guide Snow made, you just sit outside and snipe the hatcheries because they lose all their production.
Really nice.
So it's like, it feels like you can't get in there, and it's like, no, you're fine. You just kill like everything that makes their stuff. So he's going to get 1 hatchery. Then he should move up to 12 if he thinks he's safe. He may also run back and try to protect this because I think the mutas are going to go for a counterattack.
Wow. What a weird-looking game that we've had so far. I love that he did end up getting the hatchery, and he is setting up. Like, that's a pretty quick third, considering, like, the unit counts and everything that we have. Oh, no. There's only 2 cannons in here. Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be hard for him to stay here for too much longer, even if you're trading out Dragoons, as long as you're, like, just kind of buying time and something's coming down to deal with this. I mentioned taking a third base early. He didn't do that. He just went for like a 2-base powering push and then expanded later. By the way, guys, this is why the Corsairs are so important. Like, I remember my brother doing this to me over and over in games, like, before I just knew I had to make a Stargate, and I'm like, I just don't know, like, what am I supposed to do versus this?
Man.
They just, like, chase me everywhere and kill me.
I tell you,
It's why you don't want to lose any... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also hate it when my younger brother bullied me, but continue, please.
There's going to be a big counterattack coming across the map, by the way.
Yeah, that's a lot of Hydra Lurker. I'm not feeling too good about best position here. Does he even have an Observer? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
His splash damage is definitely very low. He's made a ton of Archons. We saw High Templar die already. And, I mean, Dragoons do well against Lurkers, so he picks one off super fast there and pulls back.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs some Zealots to come up here. He just needs to get his army together and take fights. It feels like everything's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
He's got cannons. He actually has a Templar perfectly hidden behind the pillar.
I didn't see that.
Above the center. I've never quite seen somebody hide stuff there. That's kind of wild. I always hide stuff behind the assimilator.
It's a little bit hard to see.
I guess you can, like... Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's what will happen in these games is oh, God, nice snipe on that.
Dude, he doesn't have
Templar's going to
protection.
come up here. He needs to get a swarm of the Lurkers.
Okay, he gets 1, but that's 2 red Lurkers now. And okay, finally an Observer is coming out, so he should be able to pop some of this. But that third base, he cannot be losing this third base right now. If he holds this, it's going to bode very well for his future in this game.
Okay, he gets the Lurkers. There was some kind of a weird pathing error.
Yeah.
Half the Lurkers went through the Protoss army. Now, the Lurkers in the back are going to do a ton of damage, but he's actually doing a flank of his own. He kind of comes in and surrounds both those Lurkers, and now he's going to bury the Zerg army over here. There's no way to escape. It's 3-base versus 3-base, by the way. That's really bad for Zerg. Zerg should have a 4th up and running. I think he basically tried to do a reversal here and just plow through the 3rd base and stay low econ, and it kind of backfired. And not only did it backfire, but he couldn't get any of those units out. Not even the mutas that could have flown out. So now he's got, like, he sort of has Lurkers. He might have mutas we haven't seen on camera yet. He, like, has some Hydras, but it's, like, a laughable amount, like 2 storms, and you're probably fine, even if they dodge pretty well.
It looks like Best is way ahead right now. Like, this looks really good for him. You can see it reflected in Queen's face. Queen does not have a 4th. Like, it looked like he was in a really good position to me, like, when he first started to push. But that poor push into the 3rd base, Best just punished so hard. Best just putting out, even with some, maybe an error on one of the attacks earlier on, here he is just kind of, like, brute forcing his way through against Queen. Like, this is insane to see how well Best is playing. This is kind of what we expected from Best for years now. But this is championship level play. And I tell you what, if I'm Sulky watching this right now, I start applying for a job at eMart because my reign is done. This is like, who's going to beat this guy?
I mean, he looks so good. By the way, 2 armor, 1 attack for Protoss. That's the upgrades you need for pushing. And I think that, by the way, Queen's doing a pretty bold move. He's double expoing. He's taking 12 and 9 o'clock. There's no obvious place to push. I guess maybe you could go for the natural. That might sound crazy, but sometimes that a play like that just kind of makes everything collapse. And you can also kind of force the Lurkers that are turtling in other spots towards you. But if this push works, Best wins.
He's got such a big army.
Protoss, generally, when they win in games like this, it's won with a push. Oh, my God. He gets the 1 storm off. Oh, my God. There's another Templar here, and he snipes it. Is Queen still in this? It's an absurd amount of Dragoons here.
Yeah.
It's one of those rare moments you have so many Dragoons, you're like, maybe, but I think there's actually still enough Hydras.
I think
he might have to actually just micro these Dragoons, like this.
Yeah.
Just kind of shuffle him back.
And he has a
They
few
do have
more
more range than the
reinforcements. As the reinforcements come up, I think he can push him back, and the audience going crazy right now as Best pushes through there without any more Psy Storms available. Great pickoffs there from
Fourth
Queen.
base.
Yeah, Queen has 4th and 5th base up, but no drones at them yet, and Best going to attack into this 4th.
He's going to run into these lurkers. A little bit painful, but he does take them out. I don't think the ramp can be reclaimed. So that's going to be 4 base to 4 base. The observer's checking the minerals. There's a decent amount at each of the bases. Zerg's not going to run out anytime soon. Protoss is probably mining out the main right now. Looks like the natural's almost gone. He's actually going to come in here and intercept anything at the 4th. He sort of knows he's just staying 1 step ahead. It's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Queen.
Yeah, this is a very tough situation for me. I mean, he keeps macroing up a lot of Hydras and everything, and he's scouting around. He kind of sees, like, uh-oh, there's a 4th base up. But what do you do from here? Like, I think you just have to set up, like, really heavy defense and try to get Best to take bad attacks. You know, like, set up, like, a really good lurker spread. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you can get up to, like, Plague and everything, you know, that's one great way to disable the Dragoons. But I don't think he's even made a Queen's Nest. You know... It looks like a terrible position here for Queen.
I mean, he's going to go for another fight. He's got a lot of mutas. He's going to lean into this style that is so popular. And Best's response has been to overmake Templars. You have 6 Templars here, so it's like, try it, man. I'll throw 1 or 2 storms onto your mutas. And then he has at least 20 Dragoons, which is just enough where it's like, it's hard to get in there, right? It's hard to do that kind of damage. There's no lurkers, I think, at this base on the left, which means he could just storm his way up through the top.
Well, he's picking off a lot of these. A lot of these High Templars are being picked.
Good
Great
Lord.
storm goes down on those Hydras. Probably don't want to attack into the high ground too quickly here. You definitely are going to need another storm or two to break that position. And Best actually pulls back. You know what? He's mining out of his 4th base. And his 4th base is up quick enough that his natural isn't empty yet. So, like, that's a pretty good economy he's got. So I don't mind the pulling back and reinforcing.
I still can't believe he doesn't get a Dark Archon here. I don't want to harp on it too much because the games have been great, but it's like 1 Dark Archon will freeze all of this, especially if you hide it, you know. And then it is an easy push. You have, you know, 7 or 6 Templars with Storm. He's going to try to push up here. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it feels to me like the game is too fast-paced for the Dark Archon. Like, the Dark Archon is a planned move, and, like, it's just too long between making it and getting the value out of it to make here. This is such a tempo-oriented game where if he keeps leaning on Queen, he should be able to maintain his advantage.
He's going to send a probe up here and probably expand to the base just north of his 4th. And that, in some ways, is all he has to do.
Yeah.
Zerg's in really bad shape. There's not even full amount of drones on the 4th base. And there's no Overlord where Best is expanding to, so I mean, this is kind of scary. As long as Best keeps upgrading, probably gets like Observer sight range, maybe even Observer speed, he should be okay. There's just so many Templars. There's a point where it's like, how many can you possibly kill? Or I guess we're going to find out he's going to go for the high score.
Well, the mutas are going to run out of ammo before they kill all those.
Yeah.
You have to reload,
eat more protein to get more glaives in their system.
Yeah.
Nice storm. Just insane. He comes in again. But Best is just going to keep forcing units up here. Now the Hydras are going to come in with a flank.
Oh, he does get
Another
one
nice
storm there. He's not getting all of his storms off these High Templars, but he has so many of them that he's breaking everything anyways. More Hydras coming up from that natural. And another great storm goes down. Oh, my God. And that's it. GG.
GG. What the hell?
The most hyped I've seen the crowd in a long time. Tasteless.
One of the best matches
No
ever,
one
man.
has ever deserved a comeback victory like that. Ever. That was unbelievable. Queen was up 3-1 and Best won the last 3 in just the most amazing fashion. It is... Dude, that's the best of 7 I think I've ever seen. And I'm a Terran player, and I favor Terran. I like Terran games. This was like the best of 7 ever. I can't believe it.
It was so good, and each of the games, they were very, very different. You know, we saw Queen, I think rightfully slow, move into a different tech. I think he thought by the later half of that, like, okay, Best just sort of has my numbers. Let's play a different game. You know, we saw Queen even go for the 9 pool, which Best handled perfectly. I think Queen teched perfectly into the safest move possible. Best really had to work for it, but, you know, the Zealot pressure, even Queen's defense was great. This was a funny moment back here. He kind of tried to move into here. I think really realized pretty quickly, like, this just doesn't work. I got to keep roaming. And when you're pushing with Zerg, it's important that you look for fights and look for places to storm. And then you don't have to force a fight always. Just like keep roaming, keep getting value. 4 base versus 4 base means Protoss is going to win long term.
For sure.
The Protoss can just keep upgrading, keep massing up. There was no 5th base in sight. There's no way for Zerg to take a 5th base because the Protoss is going to come, run in, and stomp it out. He was also taking a 5th base. We talked about that for like a second or two, but just another nail in the coffin here. And then I think we had literally 9 Templars in this final push. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's a 10th one coming.
Wow.
So there's a point where it's like Dragoons will eventually kill these mutas. And, you know, maybe we're seeing a little bit of a bending of the rules. Maybe this is really a tale about why you don't always want to go Dark Archon.
Yeah,
maybe the idea is like, no, I've got 4 gases. I can just make enough Templars. I can ignore the mutas. I don't know if I'm right, if I'm wrong.
That makes sense.
If there'll be an interview asking this, but maybe the idea is, and remember, guys, gas geysers in Brood War, they don't go to 0 like StarCraft 2. You know, so you're always getting a little bit of gas. So, you know, maybe in that sense, you just have enough to make, I don't know, 4 Templars in a round and just keep pushing.
All right. We're going to go to the interview and see how the champion is feeling.
And that does it for Queen versus Best, the first round of 8 match of ASL Season 19. A series that went the distance as the first player to secure a seed and move on to the round of 4 this season is Best. Let's have a word with him. Congratulations. Thank you. Best, you are the victor today. But perhaps the real winners today were the people who watched this here in the studio. It was such a cool match. With a scoreline that was surely a tough one to deal with mentally, your tenacity and your ability to focus shone through nonetheless. It's been a while since Season 15 as you once again succeed in moving on to the semi-finals and securing a seed. How excited were you coming down for this interview? I am high on dopamine. This is what StarCraft is about. And you have every right to fully enjoy this happiness that comes with victory. I was under the impression you came prepared so thoroughly, so perfectly for all 7 sets today. So despite you having lost a few games, this round of 8 match truly showed your ability to prepare. Tell us about how you prepared. Look, I'm a straightforward guy, but if I had played straightforward today, I would have lost 4-0. So I kept thinking, even when I would lie down in bed, so much so I got a headache. Actually, the games in the first half went the way I wanted them to. I won the first game and I thought, oh, I'm doing really well. I got ahead of myself and I lost 2-3 games. I think if I had played those more patiently, I would have won. That's a bit of a shame. While the first set you won in very cool fashion with just Zealots alone, the loss on Eclipse will sting a little for sure. But the game that stings the most has to be the one on Death Valley. As Queen built a hatchery at 5 o'clock, it made it clear that he has a great understanding of the topology of the map. So the situation wasn't looking good for you in the early game, but nonetheless, it seemed like you wanted to turn things around with Arbiter recalls. Is this something you came prepared with? Did you practice for this? I did practice with the intent of playing Arbiter recall. I did prepare this. But this strategy I was seeing for the first time. My brain froze. I didn't know how to deal with it. I thought, hey, I prepared Arbiters, so let's try that. I never had my backdoor expansion taken like that, so I was never in such a poor economic situation. It kind of felt like playing an island map, so that's how I tried playing it, and I just ran out of resources. That was regrettable. So, you won the first set, and then gave up sets 2, 3, and 4 in succession. You landed yourself in a very pressing situation score-wise. What was going through your head just before the 5th set? It was Radon 2, the 5th set. Honestly, I didn't prepare that much for the 5th set onward. I prepared very diligently for the first half, because if I can get a good score going, then picking up a stray win in the later half is doable too. I was actually more relaxed, because I already lost the games I should have won. So I decided to play relaxed. I think that actually helped. So the cannon rush on Radon was an impromptu decision? Yeah, yes it was. But you know, when you do a photon cannon rush, you need to do it a little lower. I was like, what the hell, let's just keep going. Somehow it worked. And you got most of the Zerglings with your cannons. The atmosphere started to shift in your favor. And from the 6th set onward, it became apparent that you do indeed have a chance of claiming victory. Opening with 2 Dark Templar, you then drove a wedge in with Dark Templar and an Archon. And as you went into the 7th set, you must have been even more anxious. Losing there, if you lost there and got knocked out in the round of 8, it would have been such a sorry match for you. What were you thinking about before the 7th game? This is what I thought before the 7th set. If I get lucky, I spawn on the right side. That's good SimCity for me. And I did. I spawned on the right. I thought, let's go. And then it was also cross spawn with him going 9 pull speed, and I thought, hell yeah, I've got this. I got so excited once again. So I still ended up behind, but I slowed down in the mid to late game, which was good. Still, you had a good 3 Zealot run by in the early game, but then your Dark Templar and your Archon attacks, they just kept getting stopped. That must have put you on edge. Right. It was the 7th game, so it was scary from the start and until the end. What happens if links come? What if it's Mutas? What if I fall behind? I worried so much, but I managed to overcome everything, and that's why I won in the end. Once you stopped the Lurker army, did your hands start moving by themselves? As soon as I stopped the Lurkers, I thought, I'm going to win. And it got scary again. What if I lose? I was so afraid. I'm glad things went well. It was such a high-level match you guys showed. All those watching would have been bursting with excitement as well. Truly a burst of dopamine with this 4-3 score as you move on to the semi-finals. You have to scale another tall mountain now, the round of 4 match. It's not that far to go to the finals now. Has this renewed your determination? The round of 4 was always too tough for me to get. I honestly didn't think too much that I would make the semi-finals this season. My goal was at least the round of 16. Now that I've made the round of 4, I'm feeling hungry. I think that all in all today things went well, so as long as I prepare for the round of 4, then that should be doable. Your opponent will be decided through the Jaedong versus Light match, and you played Jaedong in the round of 16 this time. Will it be a PvZ once again, or a PvT? What do you think? Who do you want to meet? First of all, I've already lost to Jaedong, so that's enough for this season. I want to play Light, play a PvT, and we are on the same team, YB crew, so whichever one of us wins, we get to the finals. I think it would be nicer if Light advanced. The storyline you're making this season is very dramatic. It's like straight out of a movie. I can't help but look forward to the rest of your journey. I'm sure your fans have become even more devoted now. Any words for the fans, please? Truth be told, the people I met today, everyone told me, just don't get 4-0'd. Just take 1 or 2 games and it'll be fine. I'm very happy that I managed to win. This season, I'm giving it everything I've got, from start to finish. In the round of 24, I went to the losers match and decider. The same happened in the round of 16. I gave it all in the round of 8 too. I want to feel more comfortable in the round of 4. I'm thankful you guys always believe in me. I'm sure you were even more determined when preparing for Queen, this opponent who was so far in the lead when it comes to you guys head-to-head. And I'm sure many colleagues will have helped you prepare. For helping me prepare, Art User and YSC, no wait, not YSC, the guy who has a similar name. Oh, BTS and Hero. Oh, 2 more. Give me a second. Huck and just 1 more guy. Oh, Killer. Thank you guys so much for helping me practice. They messaged me first saying we will help. I hope I can count on you guys as I get ready for the round of 4 too. And your colleagues here at the studio. Oh, right. And my friends here at the studio. For believing in me. They got me some drinks. Thank you. Please cheer for me in the round of 4 so I can win. Once again, congratulations on making the round of 4. And our YB, our team. We have a match tomorrow and the day after. I hope we win. Thanks to C for always being so understanding, and Light, good luck tomorrow. Got it. Looking forward to an even better showing from you in the round of 4. Congratulations. Good work. And that does it. A great performance from Best as he makes it into the semi-finals.
All right. Whew. What a hell of a night, man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to all experience this together. This was a lot of fun. So cool to see Best in the round of 4. Is this going to be the season where he wins? I know we've always had kind of this floating narrative of like, okay, well, Best is good. He can beat anybody. And he makes Dark Archons, but he never gets too deep in an ASL. I would so welcome that. Let's see if he can go to the finals, man.
I'm not joking. I think he's going to win. He just put out a series that was so unbelievable. Because he could have won some of those games he lost as well. Like, he absolutely could have. And he was bringing more fresh ideas than I've seen in a very long time. You know, unreal. Like, he's done it. He's broken through that hurdle, I think, that he needed to do. Our next map, Jaedong versus Light. I honestly don't even know which one of these guys would be better suited to go up against Best. I think they both are, you know, pretty darn good against Protoss. And that's really all I care about now. Light might be the best Terran in the world and the person that I used to cheer for and watch to study. Now I'm going to study Terran through watching Best play. And I don't know how that's going to work out, but probably I'm going to improve a lot. So I don't really care, Tastosis. This was the match.
I think Jaedong's going to have a tough time versus Light. If he wins, that would be incredible. I think that would be a sign to everybody that Jaedong is back in the best form he's ever been in since the 2007 years, around there. But I think if anybody's going to take, it's probably going to be Light. Tastosis, any closing thoughts?
No, I think you're probably right about that. Again, I think this is the best of 7 I've probably ever seen. I can't think of one that was better than this. Unbelievable. Congrats to Best. He'll at least have a seed next season. Definitely threatening to take the title. I think that's it. Guys, thank you so much for following us on the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.